Hello, hello. What's up, Car? Hey, Jimmy. Uh, yeah, I was kind of waiting on Jose, but he did give me a little bit of a heads up. He's got some, I guess, an uncle that's in hospice, and he said he had visited him a couple of days ago, and he wasn't doing too well. So I'm hoping that's not the case. Why Jose's not here? I know what's today, Saturday, Thursday. We were on here. We did a little trial run. That's kind of when he brought it up. He goes, the only reason that he probably wouldn't be able to make it today would be if something happened with his uncle. But I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping it's a situation where I botched the times again because I know he's on the East Coast. He's out of New Jersey. He'll be in. Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. So, I'm just hoping that's what it is. It's apparently it's nothing significant. It's probably more me screwing up the times again, which is typical of me. Um, New Jersey or New York? New York. Okay. I guess he's in New York. For some reason, I thought he was in New Jersey, but there he is. Hold on. Let me bring him up. Hey, Jose.
How are you? I'm just trying to get my computer to run again. Like I had issues the other day,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
just give me a minute.
Okay.
Give me a
I'll bring you
second, Joe.
down. I'll put you down. And then when you're ready, just give me a thumbs up and I'll bring you right
Yeah,
back
it's
up.
just gonna be a minute or so. Okay.
All right. You got it.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least it's not the what I was thinking it was. It's just technical issues. And those are relative easy to work with. I know they're a little bit nerve wracking when they happen like last minute, and this is Jose's first live stream. So I remember my first. I was hitting the wrong buttons, trying to hit the back button, ended up kicking myself out. But again, most of us that are doing this for the first time will have some of those issues. Let me start off by welcoming those of you that have joined me today. Since I have a little bit of time, I'm horrible at doing this because I get to talking and never really address the chat, which is I apologize for that, but my attention span is scattered to say the least. And if I'm not focusing on the conversation, I'll get sidetracked. But with that being said, Jimmy P, thank you for being here. Carr, thank you for joining us this morning. Cats LF Blueberry, thank you for joining us. Shady Grady, thank you so much for being here. Linda, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Bethany, thank you for joining us. Alex, Fathom Aquatics, thank you so much. Kaylish Fish, Amisa, thank you. Let me see who else is coming in. I know people, I didn't realize how many live streams were going on this morning or this afternoon, really, which is good. That means there's options. Danny Aquatics, thank you for joining me this morning. J&A Aquatics. Hello, I think that's new to me. I don't recognize the name. Thank you so much for being here today. If it's your first time here, hopefully this is something that you find interesting and you come back and join the community. But thank you so much for being here. I might have missed you before. This is the first time I'm actually noticing, unless you change your avatar, which might be a little bit different, and I'm not recognizing it. But thank you and welcome. Uh, hey, Ron, Garage Aquatics 2023. I am so looking forward to seeing you up at Sake. Sake is this annual event that they have up in the Phoenix area. I went to it last year, and it's I think it's called the Southwest Aquatic Kili, what's the event or something like that. And basically, what it is like three of the large fish clubs within the area, the Phoenix metro area, will come together and they'll do a big event. So it's kind of like our big like Findig for the Sacramento area, or Taco that they have up there in Houston that Steve was talking to us about last year. It's a pretty big event. You'll find what's neat is that you find a lot of different varieties of fish or species of fish that you typically don't see at your local fish stores. I mean, local fish clubs, because they'll bring in fish from throughout the country from other clubs to be sold at that auction. That's why it's so interesting and unique, and why I kind of look forward to going too. So, but Ron, Garage Aquatics just told me the other day that he's driving up to that event, so that'll be fun. I look forward to hanging out with him. I really had a fun time when I went to go visit his fish room in Palm Desert. Although I didn't get to film it because it was just kind of some other stuff, and he didn't have a heads up that I was planning on filming. So I know we got to go revisit that, and he's done a couple of changes, and he's expanded his garage or his fish room. Hey, Bunny Viper, thank you so much for joining us today. And let me see. Let me make sure I'm not missing anybody. George Aquaballs, thank you so much, sir, for being here. I know that you're working on your fish room. I've seen. I think last night went live stream. I caught a little bit of the replay or the tail end of the live stream, and you got some moves going on in garage room. I know you have some big plans coming up. At least you were hinting that was the case. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see who else. Who we have? Gage. Thank you for being here. You're another one that I haven't. Okay. You're one of Jose's subscribers. Well, thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Thanks for the support. Austin, the evolving tank. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Renee, how you doing, Renee? Thank you for joining us. Felicia Cruz. Hey, nice to meet you. Gracias por estar aquí. Let's see. Who else? Who else do we have? Wow. Jose is pulling out the people today. Now we can get him to work out his technical issues. We can get going. For those of you that have been following, you good? Okay, let me bring him up. I think he's solved the issues. How you doing, Jose?
Waiting for the computer to do its thing now.
Oh, okay. No worries. We got all afternoon.
My wife kept saying, it's, my wife kept saying, who's behind? My wife kept saying, it's my little one here. My little princess, my little YouTuber here.
I've seen her on the videos. Yes, she does some of your intros
my director.
too.
She's always telling me, Dad, do it this way, say it that way. She's like my critic. And that's Michael here. Michael, my 15-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah, the computer took forever. You know what happened? That with multiple emails, sometimes this particular email, the username, I was putting my full email there, was just part of it, So this is like, damn, I know I had the correct password. Had the same issue the other day. But anyway, we're here. I'm just waiting for the computer to do its thing, so the phone will be free.
No worries. No problem.
Anyway, it's taking forever. It's still there. We can continue this way on the phone until. So, how has your day been so far?
Well, to be honest, it's just starting. I just got off of graveyards, came home, went straight to sleep. I just finished my first cup of coffee for the day.
I got up to 3 now.
Yeah, I know. Well, typically I'll have a few other ones throughout the rest of the
I think
afternoon.
this is 4.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and I'm trying to stay hydrated too. So I got my water with me.
What time did you get out of work?
I get off at 6 a.m. Usually by the time I get home is like 6:45. But most mornings I'll do some stuff around the house and before I go to bed, just to make sure that I'm really tired. But last night I was doing everything I could to stay awake on the drive home. So I just came. Luckily, my wife had already left to work, and I say luckily because Dad allowed me to go straight to bed, black out everything in the bedroom, and just pass out. I did wake up scared though because I thought I heard an alarm that I forgot I had set, and it woke me up, and I'm going, oh, I'm late for the stream. But no, it was for something else that I had previously set up, so it was no big deal.
One of my coworkers on one of the job chat, she was talking about this strange dream she was having, and then it was this earthquake that happened in New York yesterday. So it was kind of strange. Jorge, send me the link for the computer. Yeah, because I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll put it on here, and you can. Are you? Oh, wait up.
I'm on the computer on my email now. So the email that I gave you previously, remember?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the chat, and you can get it from there, and come on up that way.
All right, got it.
So, what you'll probably do is you'll go to the YouTube side of it, open up the live stream.
Okay. Oh, go on the YouTube itself.
Yeah. And then what'll happen is once you click on the link, before I bring you up, close out the YouTube app, or else you're gonna get that echo like we were doing it the
Yeah,
other
like
day.
we were having last time. Okay, let me go to the YouTube site. Okay.
That earthquake was strange. Okay, you guys don't get a lot of earthquakes down there in your
No,
area?
no, it's very rare. Back home, we're more used to getting earthquakes and stuff, but it's here. It's not. It's rare. I think I've experienced one many, many years ago, but it's people kind of get a little weirded out. They're not used to it.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
it's
so I think I am. Here we go. Um. Okay.
go ahead and click on the link, and it'll take you to the
Okay. We're
StreamYard.
on now. Okay.
It'll,
So I'm on the
'cause-
computer now.
okay, go into the chat and look for this for the.
Uh,
Oh, won't let me pin it
I
from
can
here.
hear you see on the computer.
Okay,
The chat. Okay.
look for the StreamYard link.
Okay. I click
Click on it, and it'll take you to StreamYard.
on. Okay. I think here. I think we're on.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I think I am. I'm here now. I see Bunny Viper, Renee. Yeah.
Do you see the one that has my name on it, and you'll see the little
Yeah.
hyperlink that is yellow, if I'm not mistaken?
Okay. Let's see. I put a hello there. I put hello there. I think I'm on. I
Okay.
think we're okay.
Yeah. Well, go to the hyperlink for that I put down there for StreamYard,
Mm,
and click on that.
and it's also there's a delay from what I'm hearing, and
Yes.
um,
Here, I'll put it down again.
yeah. Okay. I see the yellow hyperlink. Yeah.
Okay. Click on it. They're asking for some inspirational
I
quotes from Michael. Is that your son?
Which one? This one is this is Bethany here.
No, no,
You know,
no. The young man that was
oh yeah,
the
the
15-year
one.
old.
Oh yeah, the big hair guy. Yeah.
All
You
right. So
know.
now you're in. Now what you want to do is close the link
Ah,
for the
for the camera.
yeah,
Okay, there we go.
and then close YouTube,
On the phone.
or let me see. Hopefully we don't get any feedback. There you are.
Yeah, I turned the volume down. Yeah, and I can hear you now.
Okay.
This is Michael
Perfect.
here. We got
Hey,
the whole
Michael.
family here waiting.
Good. Like it
All
should
right.
be.
Yeah, sometimes he's out with me when we're visiting a store doing a video, but he always chooses to stay out of it.
So your daughter's the director, and I imagine Michael's
Eh,
the cameraman.
well, Michael actually started the YouTube channel for me.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, he actually set it up, and he says, CapCut is one of the best editing things. So he started me there. He actually edited the first video, and then after that, just had to learn quickly. See, he's right now touching the computer and fixing things here. So
That's fine. You got to have the technical
okay,
support.
his friends are watching too. So they he
Oh,
told me-
nice.
yeah, he told me all
Well,
his friends.
Hi, Gage. Hi, Sterling.
What is that? Oh, he's saying to his hello
yeah,
to his friends.
Well, good.
Yeah, and we have a girl. We have a girlfriend now. He's gonna be 16 in May.
Hey.
It's okay.
Maybe it's not well known yet. Maybe I just ratted him out.
Yeah, maybe you just exposed him. Maybe he's got more than one. And you didn't know that,
Oh well, you never know with these kids.
and you just outed him.
Oh, that's funny though. Wait, who can I see who's on
Okay,
on the
on
chat here?
StreamYard, if you look at your upper right hand corner, you'll see a section that says
Private
comments.
chat comments.
No,
uh-huh.
comments. And if you open that,
Okay.
it's the same thing you see in StreamYard.
I see.
I mean,
I
on
see.
YouTube.
I see his friend Felisa Cruz is on.
Yeah.
Hi, Felisa. And look at it. It looks like 4 or 5 of his friends are watching. So that's good.
Well, the good thing is we have the phone already connected too. So that
Uh-huh.
don't turn that one off, because if you want to get up and show us your tags and stuff, we're already set up for that.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, like we did a kind of a dry run the other day.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I'm looking at some of the usual friends here. I heard you mentioning earlier before I got connected. Danny Aquatics is on too.
Yes, sir.
aqua balls. A few names that I don't recognize, but I will be looking for
Yeah,
looking for the size.
Fathom
Uh-huh.
Aquatics has been putting your link on there so people can go check it out.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I like about the community is,
Mhm.
especially when I have a guest on, they'll post the guest link because it gives the opportunity for other people in the community to go check out your content. So that's kind of the real reason why I enjoy doing this, and
Mhm.
especially when when I can be sort of a supporter that way. Uh, it was done for me when I was starting out, so it's a way for me to kind of pay it forward. And there's so much great content out there that sometimes we don't come across unless somebody allows us to be showcased or have a spotlight on them. And that's why I was really looking forward to bringing you on so that we can kind
Mhm.
of do that with your channel because I really enjoy what you're doing.
Thank you, thank you. It's a lot of fun because as most of us who are in fish keeping, we say since I was back in the Dominican Republic, that's where I'm from. There were streams nearby, so a lot of the times I was raised by my grandparents from about 6 months until about 12, and I was able to come to the States. So sometimes I would escape on them, and of course, when I got back, I got punished because they have no idea where I was, and I was out on the streams looking for fish. So it was always a lot of fun, and I think for the last maybe 10 years, because of where I was living, I didn't have a tank, and during the pandemic, I got a little one here, a 7-gallon tank, of course, with the SpongeBob theme and the plastic plants, the whole deal. So then from there, it's we're now at MTS with 12 tanks in the house, so it's
Wow,
it's
you're up
been
to
fun.
12. Yeah, because I think when I
Yeah, so I
first came
think
across your channel, you had three
I
aquariums.
had three. I had three, and what happened was I kept like a five, a 10, and a 20 for quarantine, and those were I always kept them running. And I think then my wife, she had fish as a kid. I think she told me that her father they would take like a car battery, empty it out, and that's what they used to keep fishing. So she was kids, but they never had an opportunity to have a real tank. So I think she watches more the fish and the little one. They're the one who usually tell me, look, something's going on here, and I usually separate and treat the fish outside of the tank, but they're more watchful than I am. And as far as the other tanks, I had three pairs of discus in the 120 who were all laying eggs at the same time. And I just said, she said, why don't you separate one of those pairs out and see what happens? So I have probably about 200 fries. It's hard to count. So I think they're about 5, 6 months now, and they're probably a quarter size, but they're very slow growers. And she's telling me, well, when you take these guys out, then you take the other pair and put them in. But she's the one who's encouraging a lot of the stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. I enjoy it a lot, and I think like everybody who does this, it's a fun thing.
Yeah, and that's what, like I said, one of the other things that I've really have find fascinating is that you're like me, and what I mean by that is you also speak Spanish, and
Uh-huh.
you know, unfortunately, for the most of the time that I've been on YouTube, most of
Mm.
the content creators either do videos in English or they just do them strictly in a different language. But
Yeah.
you never have where they're doing basically the same video in two languages or multiple languages.
Mhm.
So when I saw that you doing that, I was like, yes, finally somebody else stateside that is trying
Uh-huh.
to venture into that because there's a lot of us in the United States that do speak Spanish and we're fluent in
Of course,
Spanish.
yeah.
So to have somebody to cater to that audience, it's really exciting. I really That's one of the other reasons why I wanted to bring you up is because I do have a lot of followers that just do Spanish, speak
Yeah.
Spanish. Well, here's another content creator that they can go check out, and
Yeah.
that leads me to the comment that we'll be doing this en español la próxima vez que estemos con José.
No, claro, claro. Siempre es bueno para la gente, mucha gente en España y en México, como estuvimos hablando. Uh, the last time, the video for my birthday, my daughter, I was one of the videos that I did. And now we're talking about her, now she's showing her face again. So she wanted to buy uh, a fish from me. She wanted to get a disc because she knows I like them, right?
Because I asked you.
Because she asked me. So the mom, she tells her mom, I want to get him a disc. I said, well, they're expensive. So Spanish word chapeadora. You're familiar with the term? Chapeadora is more of
Yeah.
the yeah, chapeadora, right? So she tells my daughter, I'm going to have to chapearlo, which basically means I have to go dig him for the money to buy to buy the discus. So anyway, so yeah, it was something like she decided to do the young video, so I just edited and and cut very little out, but it was all her doing. So we got this little YouTuber here.
Nice. Maybe once she gets a little bit older, she'll be able to do her own
Yeah.
content on on uh, on on fish.
Oh yeah, she is. She has some ideas. She's been bugging me for a while that she wants her own YouTube channel. There's a lot of kids with YouTube channels, so we still kind of have that in the working.
Yeah.
But would it be fish related? And she may do kind of both and whatever her content wants to be. But she has a lot of ideas on different things in general, and just has a very quick mind. So
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you never know.
As long as you guys are involved with her
Oh,
exposure
absolutely.
on social media, it should be fine.
Oh no, yeah.
I know
Oh no.
we have young kids in the community that their parents are really supportive and behind them, and because you have to be careful,
You have to
with
watch. Because even in her case, we decided at some point early on she had it was a seizure disorder, but it was a febrile seizures. We kind of find out, it was when I heard it one night, and I tell the mom, I think she's having a seizure. So we ran to the hospital, and then when we got there, they said, oh, she has a fever, and I said, oh, thank God she has a fever. So basically, for me as a nurse, it's a febrile seizure, which they usually outgrow. And one time we had her in, she had several of them. Some were not fever related, right? So we had her on monitors, EEG, and I was holding her. She had a seizure while I was holding her. No fever. So they said, well, she has epilepsy, right? It's not a febrile seizure, but we had a very good neurologist, which we went later on to. And he says, look, you don't always have a fever when you have febrile seizure. It has to be just a sick event. And
Wow.
she outgrew them. She's 8 now, and she outgrew them. I think after 4 or 3, she's been doing fine. But we decided at some point, I say, you know what? If I have to do an extra shift to do what we have to do, but you stay home and you raise her, and we make sure that I don't like her going on busing her to school. So mom, it's a full time job, and it's just a busy job at keeping after school activities. So I said,
Yes, it is.
we'll take care of you. Take care of her education at home. We take care of it, and I'll work. I like working. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I had to do that. There was a time where I was working 3 jobs, just to, make ends
That's,
meet. But we
yeah,
do what we
listen,
have to do.
I
Fortunately, it all worked out. Um, Things have gotten better. Um, my kids are all moved out of the house now. They all have their own
mhm.
families. So
Yeah.
we can't ask for anything more. So
No, that's it. Life sometimes, as I said, this is not my first marriage, but life happens sometimes. And when you get into a relationship, you don't say, I'm going to go into this marriage, for it to fail. But stuff happens sometimes, and unfortunately, sometimes you have to part way. There's always kids in the middle, but I'm very involved with my children, although they're with me or not, So, but that's it's you have to work, and you got to do what you got to do to make things work.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I know you were alluding to this. You were mentioning that you work in the medical industry. Um,
Hmm.
so knowing how demanding those jobs are, how do you manage to keep a balance with the aquariums and making sure they don't get,
Listen,
really out of hand?
that's what my all my coworkers say. When Jose, you work two full-time jobs essentially, because I work in an emergency room 3 days a week, and I work at my primary job. 25 years now, 3 days, so it's 3 12-hour shifts. And some of the emergency room days, I get in very late. Depending where I was working, I was working. Sometimes I come home at 10 10:30 at night, and I just get in, whether I'm tired or not. I just do the just quickly put the pump that I have to for the large tank, and just refill. And a couple of times I actually fell asleep while I was filling one of the tanks, and that was a panic because my wife was already sleeping. So we live in a sixth floor apartment, and we have a neighbor downstairs that is has issues. Let's put it that way. And it's always a fear that if I have a flood, I'm going to have a problem. But anyway, she has issues, to put it that way. I don't want to say anything out in public that it would not probably be safe. But she's called the cops on me so many times because not because of the fish business. Sometimes we're watching TV quietly. Somebody next door, we had two busy twins. They making noise in the other part of the building. It's two separate entrances. One building, two stairs or two elevators. But then she'll call the cop, and the cops will come in. And when they open the door, they see the fish tank. It's like, wow, can we come in? And all that. So then they always want to look at the fish. Can we come in? So they always see that whenever they come in, it's a false thing. And it's when my little one was like a toddler barely, she accosted my wife on the elevator one time. We actually reported to the police, and she was put on notice. But it's always a fear of the apartment and the water and everything else. Yeah. But I have had so far, thank God, I haven't had no major events.
Yeah, I think that's why that in the time, it kept me from having aquariums for the longest time because I've had to move a lot because of work and just different situations that. I mean, my kids will tell you they were lucky if they got to spend 3 or 4 years consecutively in one city. I mean, just my previous employer, we were constantly moving, and so yeah, that's why I kind of didn't want to keep aquariums. And finally, when we kind of settled down a little bit, at first I didn't own, so that was always my biggest fear is if I flood something out, what's going to happen. It's always that fear in the back of your head because if you do something too drastic, you can get kicked out of there, and then what do you do?
That's exactly. What do you do with all these fish? All these aquariums. And that's even my daughter said the other day, Dad, when we move, how are we going to move all the tanks? And I said, very slowly and one at a time.
But how they're going to get the food and survive the jungle?
They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it's just. Are you planning on staying in New York for your entire life, or?
I came as a almost 12-year-old, 1974, January 1974, January 2nd. And after I married, I moved about 45 miles outside of the city, but still within New York State. So for over 30 years, I was commuting back and forth between one and two hospitals. But after I remarried again, it was just close. I'm only 15 minutes away from both hospitals where I am right now. Except that during the pandemic, I went to another hospital. I went to another hospital that was in Brooklyn, and that was sometimes only 30 miles away, but the commute sometimes took me 3 hours. And at some point, I just called my recruiter that handles the second job of my agency work, and I said, "Listen, get me out of here." So by next Monday, I was already at a place that I was before since 2008. That's the second job. But I like New York. I like when every time I hear you on the lives and on the program saying that it's constantly 112, and I said, Jesus Christ.
Well, I do live in the desert, so it's one of those things where we don't have snow, we don't have ice in the winter, at least not in the section, because Arizona is a pretty big state, but the northern part of Arizona does get all the seasons. I happen to live in the southern section of the state, which we're a low desert, so
wow.
It gets pretty warm, but like right now, it's a beautiful 73 degrees. I can't complain. I mean,
73. Wow.
Yeah. So the weather out here makes us have a short-term memory, and what I mean by that is we have such.
Oh, that's my daughter, my older daughter. 30. She's 30.
Hello.
She came by. Say hello.
I'm gonna go now.
All righty.
But you
Nice
guys
to meet you.
Thank you. This is Stephanie and Bethany.
Oh, okay.
He was real
And me.
creative.
And Michael.
Stephanie and Bethany, real creative.
Oh, listen, I like the ring of the name.
Well, that's harder. You see, the kids think it's easier, but it's easier to mix up the names when you're upset at them and you're trying to get them.
This one, I have one sister.
I understand why my
from
mom sometimes
with my
says
mother. I
it's
have
like
other
a
brothers and
holiday,
sisters, but
sometimes she
on my
calls
father's
them-
side. So my sister is
last
Jessie,
name, we
for
both have
short.
me.
So I will always
Which is
call my daughter,
D-I-N-E.
by my sister's name, and she would say,
So-
God. And with these two, I'm always mixing up the names, but it's
Because we both end with the knee.
yeah. Oh Lord. But anyway, that's it's. I think when I before I had any children, I said Roberta was going to be the first one after one of my older brothers, and Stephanie was going to be a girl if I had it. So I guess on my second child, I have Carlos. He's 30. No, sorry, 36. Roberto is 38. So the kid is born, and I said, "Oh shit, we don't have a name for a boy. Had planned for a girl, and then we gave him a name, which was happened to be Julio. Some people say, you're going to name him Jose. I said, too many Jose's. And I wanted a basic Spanish name. I didn't want anything too fancy, So I said, okay, let's name him Julio. And I always like middle name for ID purposes, right? And so I named him Julio Angel. And then the next day I said there was a famous Spanish singer. I forgot what country he was from, but his name was Julio Angel. And I changed his name the next day to Carlos. So it was like, and I felt bad for the kid because I feel like maybe he feels unwanted because I did not even have a name for him. So, for this one, Bethany, I also like. It was a similar sounding name. I guess I like the ring of the name.
Yeah. But yeah, so I know that you're up there, and I made the mistake of saying that you were in New Jersey, and somebody really corrected me immediately. I don't know.
Who was
I
that?
think,
You mean today?
yeah, just right now, earlier in the stream. It's funny because I've always heard that there's that whole rivalry, but in good spirit
Oh,
between New Jersey and New York.
oh, listen, this is like I've driven one. My sister lives in the Pocono Mountain area in Pennsylvania, and I've driven by. I'm waiting to make a turn, and it's like, hey, go back to New York. And it's like a lot of people are very anti-New Yorkers, and of course New Yorkers talk about the Jersey drivers and etc. I have to. I want to say hello to a few of Roberto's
Go ahead.
friends. Felisa, hello, Felisa.
No, Michael.
Sterling. Cage Devlin. He uses that's not his real name. And there's a few of his friends are here, so he told them about the live stream.
Yeah, there's a Simon Fields here that I have never seen before. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Mandy just showed up. The Zen Ginger. Boots, Cats. Rachel, thank you for joining us. Let me see who else. I know Bunny Viper.
Yeah, Bunny Viper
June.
Car. I've seen him a lot on your lives, but I have to check out his channel. Sometimes you look at it, and I said I wanna. You cannot open it right out of the live stream, but I forget him. Boots and Boots.
Yeah, that's
I've
Rachel.
seen. Yeah.
Who were you talking about? Bunny?
Yeah, Bunny Viper. It's I have not.
Her name is
I've
Ivy.
seen him.
And
It's Ivy. Okay.
Yeah. And then DJ Guppy Fish, Sal, thank you for being here. Homer the Clown Trigger, thank you for joining us. Ross Baltimore, he was just on he was on a live stream doing his test run. He was one of my guests a few episodes back too. And so I went over there right before we started just to go show some support, and he was kind of working through. I guess he's going to start doing a regular live stream now, which is good. I'm kind of happy to see more options out there, because I know people are always saying that they're worried that oh, I'm going to interfere with somebody's live stream and stuff like that. But I'm of the opinion the more the merrier. I mean, it's just there's more options, more. Everybody has a different take on things, anyways.
Yeah, and one of the things, being of some other ethnic group or not being Native Americans, there's one not Native American for the original Native American, but not to be American, per se. All my kids are born here, right? And it's funny that we have all these options in the United States, and when we come from other countries where we don't have those opportunities, like some people a while back, I had one of the nurses say, Jose, why are you working so much? Or why do you work here? And
Internet.
we got it. Yeah. So can you hear me,
Yeah, I can hear you.
George? Okay, yeah. So she says, why why? It's like you making the good money or whatever. She says, listen, you could do it too. It's open for everybody. Oh no, I don't want to work that hard, or I won't have benefits or whatever. I said, listen, you have the options.
Yeah.
So, you can, when people come to a particular emergency room and I say, I hate this effing place or whatever. And I say, listen, you're in America. I say, you have choices. You pass so many hospitals in the city. There's so many around. Why don't you go somewhere else? Oh, no, I've always come here. So then stop complaining, right? So with YouTube, one of the things that I found that it was very intimidating, you look at guys like Corey from a Corn Co-op. These guys and Joey, DIY Joey.
Yeah.
These guys have been around for a long time. And then you say, when you look at their content, and that some of them, they have good budget maybe for some of the videos to spend a lot of money. For me, is my camera. Whenever I have the time between breaks, between patients, whatever, you edit stuff and do it while you can. But having the comments. Okay.
Oscar Paulino.
I'm giving to watch my comments or to read the comments.
Read. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. Okay, all right. This we have some of his friends are responding to my comments.
Yeah, you have some of your subscribers showing up and saying hello.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Simon Field, is that somebody from you? From your end?
No, es
Oh wow, we got
Mommy.
JR Fish Tanks. JR
Yeah,
is
JR.
somebody. Those guys. Look at. Hey JR, how are you? The JR is JR. He's from Spain. I don't know
Yes.
if he's. I think he's. Yeah.
I've had
And
the
he
good
says-
fortune of being on his live stream. Gracias, JR, por estar aquí.
Yeah.
Gracias a los que nos
Sí.
están acompañando, que siguen a José en su contenido en español. No se preocupen, vamos a tener la entrevista en un futuro donde también lo vamos a hacer en español, ya que los dos tenemos esa habilidad de poder hacer contenido en inglés y en español. Así que no se preocupen. Hoy nos tocó en inglés, pero próximamente viene en español también.
Hola Oscar. Hola Luis. Alex.
Elisa.
Hold on a second. I have to thank him.
Bacon.
Hola, Carmelina. So I have the whole family and all friends from back home. La
Nice.
próxima vez va a ser en español.
A tía Violeta que la saluda. Que está viendo. Me llamó.
Michael, what for favor? What? No, I think maybe she misspelled something. So, JR, muchas gracias por estar aquí. A JR le pregunté el otro día que él era un acuario holandés. Dije, bueno, como todos aprendemos de uno al otro, siempre que veo uno y lo describen con un acuario holandés, te da más o menos una idea, pero si alguien me preguntaba qué es un holandés, no podía explicarle.
Explicar qué era.
Sí.
Sí, son
Hola,
acuarios
Betania.
plantados donde las plantas predominan el
Sí.
paisaje.
Ujú. Sí, eso sí, son muy bonitos los acuarios de él. Y también el otro día estaba mirando de nuevo el live que hiciste con, sorry, for the non-Spanish speaker, bad habits. We just quickly turn to Spanglish.
I
you
know,
know.
it's one of those where the
well,
switch just gets turned on and
Yeah, you don't even realize it. And I do that at work a lot, where people that look Hispanic and they get annoyed. They say, "I'm not Spanish." I said, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to be offensive, but sometimes you do that." So, okay. Okay, it's just additional friends here. They keep pointing me to their comments, so I'm sorry that I keep looking at the screen.
I guess they want your son to say some type of inspirational quote.
Look what they're asking. Did you want to say something to them to quote? Okay. Oh, I think my son wanted to say something. You want to?
All right.
All right. Let me give him a minute while I take a quick.
Whoa.
What happened?
He doesn't want to be on camera by himself.
He's nervous.
Okay.
I heard from the grapevine that Spread love everywhere you go. Well done is better than well said.
Nice.
Okay. Okay, that is
You
good.
know,
Now,
tell your son Michael that if he
I-
enjoys inspirational quotes, he needs to check out Carr. He's in the
oh,
he's in the
car
community.
is okay. Yes.
Yeah, he likes doing a lot of that motivational, inspirational stuff too.
Oh, wow. One of the things one of my videos, I gave him a shout out. Michael is going to be 16 in May. And throughout his childhood until recent, he was very overweight, very. And he's lost 60 pounds over the last year.
Nice.
Pure will, pure determination. He's playing a lot of basketball, but he is every time we go out, it's just like I won't have a piece, or maybe I have one slice, and he watches everything he eats, and he's really done well. And I'm really proud of him for that, because it's hard for us for the adult, but for a kid at his age to have that willpower to do that, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're very happy for him.
Well, congratulations to him.
Yeah, he looks good now, and he's attracting other people, to put it that way. I don't want to say
He's a good-looking kid. I mean, I can see it. I mean, so good for him.
Yeah, so he's doing okay. He's been and of course my little one was surprised with little Coco there. Again, there was a name before. If it was a boy, my wife said we should have named him Chewbacca, Chewie from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I put two pictures of Chewbacca, the Star Wars character, for those who don't know who we're talking about, because he looks that the hair just it's they really look alike, and that's my wife's favorite character is Chewbacca.
What's the dog's name?
Oh, what's the dog's name? It's Coco, like the Disney movie, right?
Oh, okay.
Coco, like
Yeah, it's Coco after the Disney movie. Yeah. What was going to be the girl's name if it was going to be a girl?
Like Miguel's grandmother.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If it was a girl, it'd be Coca.
Oh, Coca if it was a girl. Hopefully
Hey,
not
Coco,
the wrong Coca.
Coco works for boy or girl.
That's true, because when we did that video of surprising her, some people have made comment and they referred to Coco as a girl. And of course, Coco was the grandmother, was a girl, right? Mm-hmm. You can go for both ways. Yeah, I was chatting with Stefan from Lush and Salty and Lush. I'm sorry, Lush and Salty Aquariums. And I had asked him. I wanted to ask him when he was on your live. I wound up seeing it again.
Yeah, I know.
But he responded on one of the comments that he previously had a reef tank, and I said that was initially. I've always wanted to do that in my house. I still don't go in it with my ex-wife. Between the kitchen and the dining room, I opened up a big wall and built a cabinet. Built a frame and then wrapped it around. And I wanted to do a reef tank, a large tank. But then, of course, life happens, and I still have there's still a 75 gallon tank there, and this is over 15 years ago. And it's still dry. And the kids, I wanted to take it, and the kids said, no. We're gonna set it up one of these days. And it's still sitting dry there. So anyway, but I think I said when I grow up and when I have space, I will probably get a reef tank. Right now we don't have room.
Stefan is another one that I need to get him back. We just started getting into our conversation. I unfortunately had to go. But yeah, I'm still, I feel like we didn't even get into a third of the conversation with Stefan. So I've really enjoyed him. I mean, I like his demeanor when he does his live stream. His videos, and he's got a sense of humor that I can understand and get along with. And so there's a lot of things that I like about what he's doing. And I have my, it was one of those things where the timing, although I had set the time aside, my wife's schedule changed. And like I've always said, one of the deals that I have with her is that I wouldn't let this interfere with our personal life. I need to be very clear in my priorities, because I am so subject to giving everything to one thing that I don't practice a lot of balance. So I have to be very cognizant of trying to keep things separate because I can get consumed with things that I like. So
Yeah, that's
um,
true.
so that's kind of always been the thing. It's like, look, you guys
Mhm.
come first. This is great. This is a hobby. I love being here with everybody and interacting, but my family's always going to come first.
Of course.
And it just so happened that she wasn't scheduled. She was scheduled to work that day, but then a couple of days before that, she ended up changing her time, and we hadn't seen the grandkids in a couple of weeks. So she's like, I want to go see the kids, and it's like, all right, let's go. So I was trying to make everything work, but sometimes when you try to stretch yourself too thin, it doesn't work out. And I feel real bad because I feel like I just kind of bailed on him. And he said it was fine. He understood, but personally, I still feel like I was rude.
Yeah,
And I hate that. I hate that. I don't like feeling like I've dissed somebody or did somebody wrong. So hopefully I can get him back on and we can continue where we left off.
yeah. I was looking for, and I saw part of it live, and sometimes depending on the part of the day at work, that depending there are moments when you have a little bit of downtime and you can kind of listen in, and so I saw part of it live, and then I saw it again once or one and a half times again.
Muy bien.
So I was looking forward to him because I think
Good.
you and him, his delivery. Oh,
Let's go say.
hola,
José,
hola, how are you?
José,
They say hola.
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 It's because I got my headphones on. She can't hear what you're saying.
Oh, I see.
I love you.
Love you too.
Nice meeting you, José.
Nice
She said
meeting
nice. Oh yeah, you can hear her. I forget that.
you. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's because I got the headphones in, so she can't hear. But
Yeah.
I already had some, baby. Thank you. Yeah, but she just got home from work.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
What work do you do, George Jorge? And you work in the dam. What
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of-
an
what kind of-
operator.
Oh, yeah.
I basically control. It's the control room.
Okay, got it.
We there's. It used to be that you had a lot of gauges. Now it's all computers. Everything's
yeah.
off the computer. Everything's
Kind of an autopilot. in a
digital.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. So we basically what I do is I stare at how many? There's like 12 different monitors that we have to look at, and what we're doing is we're taking elevations of the water
Mhm.
of the river, how high or how low it's getting, and based off of that, we have to do certain adjustments because we
Mhm.
have these big old control gates that we can either raise or lower to adjust the flow of the river. So that's all we're doing is we're basically managing the amount of water that's going down the river because we're at the tail end almost at the tail end before it goes into the Sea of Cortez.
Okay. All right. So you're far
Yeah,
down.
I'm way south.
Okay.
And so we kind of manage because they try to preserve as much as that water, keep it for cities, agriculture, all the other needs.
Yeah, one of Michael's friend is asking which dam is that, and that's in Arizona, right?
Yeah, Imperial Dam. It's
Imperial Dam.
we are the famous one is the one next to Nevada, which is Hoover Dam.
Right.
So we're probably how many miles is it? About 100 or no, maybe a little bit more than that. About 200 miles south of that,
Mhm.
where we're located, and it's the very last dam in the United States before. Well, that we manage, that we have people at the facility,
Mhm.
because the very last one we control remotely through radio frequencies, and so we do that. But the last man one is the one in Imperial Dam. Is the name of the dam.
Yeah, I'm looking back at some of the comments that I've missed here because a lot of Michael's friends, I hear of them,
Rachel.
and I'm just seeing some of the comments here. That I've been, as I said, in this country since 1974, and I kid around with people. I said I always want to do the West Coast. I think I forgot the Pacific route, right? I always wanted to do that drive because it's beautiful. What I wanted to do is just go down like from San Diego, and then take a plane back to New York from Seattle, right?
Oh, okay.
And I said that the furthest west I've been in the United States is the west coast of Florida. That's not that far west. And we went to visit a 16-hour drive for us. We went to Nashville to visit a friend.
Okay.
Yeah, it says Joe Jorge, I'm adding him to FFL.
Yeah, it's called Fish Fam Link.
Mhm.
What it is, it's basically members of the community, but predominantly Matt, which is OnlyFins. He kind of set up an
George,
application.
Jorge,
Hello.
this is my other beautiful half here.
Ah, nice to meet you.
This is Betania.
Betania, hola.
Betania, mucho gusto, Betania.
Le escucho.
No.
Toma.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're in the same boat.
La esposa de
The roles got reversed there. Mucho gusto, Betania.
Un placer.
Ah, gracias por dejarme compartir este momento con su esposo. Yo sé que
No.
está con la familia.
No, gracias a usted por apoyarlo y por compartir el mismo gusto por los peces con él.
Ah, no, todo un placer. Ya tengo rato siguiendo a José y me ha gustado mucho el contenido que ha estado haciendo. A mí lo que más me llamó la atención de José fue de que también hace los videos en español y en inglés, que es algo que yo había comenzado a hacer y ahora sí ya tengo alguien con quien pueda tener algo en similar, pues algo, ser compatibles en ese aspecto.
Sí, no,
Sí, hace tiempo que yo le estaba diciendo, años, que con lo que él tenía de conocimiento sobre los peces, él podía hacer su propio canal. Hasta que entonces Michael, el niño, lo impulsó un poquito y lo empezaron a hacer como un jueguito y se fueron. Y yo le dije, sigue grabando en los dos idiomas porque tiene gente que te escuchan y te van a ver en los dos idiomas. Y le ha funcionado.
Claro que sí.
Sí, hasta ahora siempre, como digo, es como te dije ahora, es difícil. Sorry, going back to Spanish.
I know.
It's difficult. Tenemos que hacerlo en español también.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult, as I said before, because when I went to college, when I studied, which is 40 years back now, when I went to nursing school, of course, computers was not a thing, and all that other documentation was on paper. Going through college was all no computer, so te dice adiós él.
Sí, yeah, mire.
And it was very hard. So now we coming to a lot of the technology, which is we kind of slowly learning. You know, it takes the new iPhone. It takes a little while before, but of course, the skit comes and they show you, you know, in 2 seconds they got it done. But again, that's second nature to them now. But it's been slowly learning, and I'm always learning a new trick. Sometimes you watch other YouTubers regarding how to do stuff on YouTube and listening how people present stuff. But I think I think we all go back and watch our first videos because it's uncomfortable, you know.
I don't want to watch that. I don't even watch the ones now, to be honest. I there's something about watching me on replay that I just it feels so weird. I'm not used to it, and I've been doing this for now almost 2.5 years now.
Yeah,
and I still even when I have to edit videos, I find it cringy. I don't know.
Listening to yourself, the way our voice sounds in our head is very different than the way you actually sound like. My daughter, the one that was here, when I get a cold sometimes, which is not, thank God, not too often, my voice gets very deep, not hoarse, but it just gets very deep, like a radio announcer's voice. And my daughter says that, I like you when you're sick. You sound like a man, she says. And my wife likes it. So sometimes I record messages to her, like sexy messages, you know, tonteria, you know, nonsense.
Yeah.
And I record it. She says it because she likes the sound of the voice. You know, she's very, you know, like deep radio announcer voice. You know, it's but you're not used to listening to yourself. So like even when at the hospital you make announcements overhead, you hate hearing yourself.
Sexy man.
Because you say no sexy. you hate hearing yourself. So, but I actually like to watch my own videos. Sometimes I'm driving because I'm not listening. You catch your mistakes, and you say, okay, learning from yourself and from your own mistakes. So you say, okay, maybe I'll do this differently. Maybe I'll slow down as I'm speaking. So then, if you have to edit something else, it's more fluid when you edit something out. Then it's more fluid when you can cut, and there's. You know, you learn. It's a big learning process. So,
yeah, no, I just don't have the patience. If you watch what you're watching on my videos, exactly the way it was recorded, because I don't edit anything, which is bad. Probably that's probably why I don't get a lot of views like some of the other people.
Mm-hmm.
But I try it. I try as much as I can, but it's I can't sit there and do that. I know some people find it therapeutic, which I envy them because and some people are so perfectionist that they'll spend days editing. I give Alex Fathom Aquatics a hard time about it, but
Yeah. Mhm.
the end result is there though. You look
Yeah.
at his videos and you
Mhm.
look at all the production that goes into it as far as editing and making sure that he's very clear, that his content
Mhm.
is good. He
Mhm.
does the b-rolls where they'll match what he's saying. I
Mhm.
admire that. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of that stuff. I wish I could do it. I mean, I could probably do it, but I just don't have the patience.
It's the patience and the time, and like there's a lot of stuff that I have recordings for, but again with my time, going back to what you were saying, where do you find the time? Sometimes one of the hospitals I start at 6 a.m. and thank God now I'm not too far away, but I have to be up by 4:30. Sometimes it's like 4 o'clock and I am still up. It's like, oh my God, it's I have to be up in half an hour or an hour, and I can catch a nap, and then I'm fine, and then I'm working stretches of days between the two places, and you kind of get used to it, and I function on not a lot of sleep. I'm not falling to sleep, but that's you do it when you have the time. I come in, I spend a little, whatever little time I have between the little one going to sleep, and then my wife, of course, goes to bed at 10, 11. She said, I got to go to bed, but I may still be up at 2 o'clock changing water, or I may be done. And I said, I want to watch TV, but then I pass out there, and then it's like I wake up and it's an hour before work. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of the same way because I have the rotating schedules, but I don't know how
mm,
many times my wife kind of just laughs a little bit because I'll be sitting down
mhm.
and if I sit in a couch for more than 5 minutes, I'll
I'm
probably
done.
gonna pass out.
I'm
I'll be
done.
sitting there, and it's funny. I laugh at it because I used to look at the older gentlemen when I was smaller, and I said, "How the hell did they fall asleep just sitting there?"
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I understand now. I get it.
We get it. My wife says that I turn off like this and and a beep. I turn off very quickly, and sometimes she's talking to me, and it's like, oh, he's gone. But it's sometimes exhaustion takes over, but
Yeah,
especially on my line of work.
yeah. And I think that's. I don't know if that's always been in me, but I know where it really became one of those things where if I said I'm going to sleep, you go to sleep. Because when I was in the service, we'd be out doing training or whatever, and then they'll give you
Mhm.
like a 15-minute break, and most of us would find something to lean up against and be able to catch up on our sleep
Yeah.
because it's just you're always doing something. You're either doing watches or you're just constantly doing stuff, so you don't get a lot of constant sleep. So you learned how to take these little power naps, and that's how
Yeah.
you would make it through the day. So my wife always laughs because I tell her, hey, I'm going to bed. And she'll come in and try to ask me something like 5 minutes later, and it's forget it, I'm out.
Yeah.
And she goes, how do you do that? Because she struggles to go to bed, and she'll sit there and toss and turn. Not so much now though, because she's been really working hard at work.
Mhm.
And I notice now that she'll tell me, "Hey, I'm gonna go to bed," and she'll be out. I mean, now I go, "Oh, you get it now."
Yeah. I've never had an issue. When I worked nights, I did. When my older kids were smaller, my ex-wife, was also a nurse. So we traded days and worked different days so that one of us was always home.
Yeah,
We lived about 30 miles from work, more or less. So I had the three little ones. I was the one who was doing the lawn while one was taking a nap and basically took care of the house, when she was working. So we just switched roles. But when I work nights, you function on very little sleep. Well, somebody is some friends here. My wife is pointing out that they're here.
yeah. I put it on the screen. I think.
Yeah, oh, there's a lot of messages. Taveras, ¿verdad? Jennifer, hola.
Hey, Charles.
Libelo, ¿cómo está? And looking, a lot of people are coming in from my end.
Yes,
That is good. That is good. And one other funny thing is that when you start talking to people, one of the things you said on one of your lives before was that you're the only, as you put it, the only older guy or the only person who has fish. So it's like at work, it's like a lot of the friends say, oh, when they see me on my phone, I'm either editing something or I'm looking at somebody and then they say, oh, you're on your fish. It's like, but I said, listen, it relaxes me. There's another, he's fairly new channel also, Cichlid forgot what their title is. Two guys, they're both ex-military.
Yes. I know who you're talking about.
Psyche, I think they
Yep.
go by, right?
Yep.
And he says that he had a bad accident, and he says that having traumatic stress syndrome, that he found that once he got a fish, and then multiple times now, that he has found that really, you know, makes a big difference. And his friend, who they're both military people or ex-military, they kind of have the channel together, but it does make a big difference. I always enjoy fish, and there's a picture that during the pandemic, there was not much to do. So Michael, we went to about 45 miles out of the city, near where I live, and there's a little stream that goes into one of the water reservoir for the city, and we went rock collecting, and there was not much we can do. So I got a tank, and that's where kind of everything restarted again. But it was about 10 years I did not have a tank. And when we think back, the way we did things as kids, I was listening to your stories, and like some of the people asked me at work, I said, it's so hard. I say, really, it's not hard. I have X amount of tanks. I can go through all the tanks in about an hour or so. The weekly changes. If I have to do gravel backing or do something else, of course, that takes a little bit more time. Today I was trimming the plants, and that takes a little bit more time, but it's like I enjoy the heck out of that. And it's really, I could spend the whole day, like on my Saturdays. Today, because I had this, I know I'll show you in a minute. I was still working on a project, so I have to try to finish and finally give her a clean living room. So we decided to stay in, and I told Michael that I was doing this live with you. I said, do you want to come in and do a cameo? So he says, I'll do it. Usually he says, no. But I guess having a YouTuber dad now.
Yeah, that's the weird part, because I'm a YouTuber grandfather. My grandkids, they're like, it reminds me so much of Bethany, that they're always, we go out in the streets or public, and they're like, oh, my grandpa has a YouTube channel, you got to check him out. It's like, dude, wait up, not everybody.
you become a celebrity, because the emergency
in their eyes.
Yeah, in their eyes, of course, and I said, please, famous. And you do have people who watch you all over the world, essentially, but you're far from being famous. But my wife said, well, what is your definition of being famous? I was taking care of this older lady from my country, Dominican lady, in the emergency room some weeks back. I was just covering a lunch break, but just the way I am in general, I wind up being just taking care of her needs. And then it's like one of the daughters says, oh, our angel is leaving, she says. And one of, I don't know if any of my work friends will see this, but they gave me a little title the other day. They kind of they call me the patient whisperer, because she says, if we have a difficult patient or a VIP, they say, give it to Jose, because he'll calm down all the people that are, like people that are difficult, or in one way or the other. We know what we're talking about. We have people, you have personalities, or people who are, quote unquote VIPs, and
especially in your environment, because a lot of people are scared. A lot of people are in pain. A lot of people, and unbeknownst to them, that's kind of like their reaction to be in an altered state, because
of course
they're dealing with something that's pretty traumatic for them in that moment. So
right.
I'm sure you guys get the training to understand and go, okay, I know what he's going through.
And I think a lot of the time, and I say this all the time, because I use my own sense of humor, and sometimes people at work, they just look at me, they never know what's going to come out of my mouth, because I always say, and because the thing I always say, the worst thing that you need to come to a place that is a scary place, right? And you're going to meet people with sour faces. It's not a comfortable thing. You're already scared shitless, And I had a woman yesterday, as a matter of fact. This girl was, she's 62, but she had a bad experience prior at another place with a previous procedure. And she was coming in, they were fixing a hernia, and she was crying from the beginning when she walked in. And then there were two family members, an aunt and a cousin, and they say, you were just the right person for her, because she was like, and you understand that, because you see this time and time again. And especially in my situation, I've always preferred critical care, emergency rooms. and I worked with a lot of heart and lung transplant patients. So those are certainly big procedures. So it's always rewarding to me, when people come back to you later and say, "Listen, your mom was so nervous, and you made a difference in her. You really calmed her down because she was a mess." And you see that. And this is, I said, nursing or the medical field in general. If you don't like what you're doing, this is certainly the wrong profession to be. And I really enjoy going to work. Every day I do. I like what I do.
Yeah.
And it's, if I say one day, there are those days when you don't feel like working. So, I don't want to go to work or whatever, but not because I hate my job. And if I start hating where I'm working, then I think our profession allows you to go somewhere else. If you're having an issue with the system or with a certain people, I said, I just switch places, and you can do it. And it's not a problem, so.
Yeah, no, it's even where I'm at, where I'm working now, I some of these guys will complain about what we're doing, but I don't know, maybe because I've learned the value of the job that I have now as far as the physical demand aspect of it.
Mhm.
Um, there really isn't. It's more of you have to be. It's more using your mind than your physical attributes.
Mhm.
But up until that job, it's always been physical back-breaking work. What I've done. So to be at this stage now where I'm making a lot more money than I ever was, and I'm not
Mhm.
having to physically break down my body,
Yeah.
it's a blessing to me. I mean, I when these guys start complaining about having to push an extra button, I'm like, dude, you
Hey,
already
listen, man.
forgot what it's like to be out there, in 114-degree weather trying to, shovel stuff or do something that's just more physically demanding the elements. I go, I'm
Amy Karina.
I I
Saludo, Amy Karina.
I know exactly
Ya,
how good I have it, and I'm not fooling myself. I know
yo estoy.
I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Se te despide el Junior,
Ujú.
que se va a dormir.
¿A quién?
JR.
Oh, JR is going to sleep?
Yeah, JR.
Oh,
Oh
JR
yeah,
says he's going to sleep. Oh, Spain, of course. JR, muchas gracias. Hablaremos la próxima. Creo que vamos a hacer esta charla en español cuando estemos de acuerdo. Tal vez otro sábado, que es el día más fácil para mí. Y después que Jorge está de acuerdo, lo haremos. Y saludos para Carmen Ramos, Karine Ramos, Amy en Salcedo, República Dominicana, y a Joan en Puerto Plata. Es el fan club de República Dominicana.
también JR te dice que si te interesaría ser invitado en uno de sus directos.
Oh, no, es un placer, JR. Le quería preguntar hace día en JR, porque a veces como con Stefan, Solten. ¿Qué fue? Oh, ok. O sea, Juan y Clarisa, saludos. No, JR, con un placer sería, claro, porque siempre es bueno saber de otra persona, porque uno se comunica todo el tiempo, cada quien ve sus videos, ¿verdad? Y comentan y siempre veo, me gustan, como te digo, los acuarios de JR y de JR y también de Stefan, los tuyos, tú sabes. Cada algo es algo diferente y cada quien lo mantiene de su forma. Mucha de la gente me comentan a mí a veces, Joana, si lo ve en algún momento, saludo. Ella vive en Miami. Ella me dice, pero tú están comprando más peces, pero tú no crees que tienes mucho en los tanques. Dice, no, me gusta tenerlos sobrecargados. Me gustan los colores, me gusta el movimiento. Eso es lo que prefiero de los peces. Las plantas me gustan tanto como los peces, pero con el mantenimiento y tratamiento ellos se mantienen bien. Y las reglas, esto como siempre estaba hablando el otro día con Stefan, de que la regla de un pez por galón, que el otro, todas estas reglas se pueden violar si tú mantienes los peces bien.
Well, they're not set in stone. A lot of those
Claro.
rules are just suggestions to follow and
Sí,
and stuff like that.
claro.
You also have somebody, Sergio from Puerto Plata, saying hello to you.
Sergio. Hablando de Sergio, Jorge, vamos a hacer una pausa por un segundito, porque ya tú sabes, a los 62 años, a veces la retención de la vejiga no es mucho. Excusa, un segundito.
Yeah, no worries. He'll be right back. Taking a little quick break. All right, I want to take this opportunity. I had kind of played with Jose because he's got the same ability that I do. That we were talking. I kind of at the beginning said, "What if we do like a bilingual stream where we're just going back and forth?" And we had agreed that it would probably be a little bit too confusing, and I want to apologize for that. But it's innate. I mean, we're so used to switching languages at the drop of a second because we grew up both where Spanish is probably our first language, and then English kind of became our second language. So in our homes, it's probably a lot more comfortable to speak Spanish because it's just what you grew up listening to. And then in society, well, you have to function. So English is important too. So let me see. I think he's back.
Sí, estoy de regreso de nuevo. Jorge, Sergio de Puerto Plata es sobrino de sobrino mío, pero sobrino de sangre de mi esposa.
Okay.
Sergio son dos hermanos ellos. Inafortunadamente, la hermana de mi esposa tenía 46 años, hace como 2 años falleció de cáncer de pulmón. Nunca fumó, pero ella cuando se diagnosticó se fue bastante rápido. Pero entonces Sergio tiene 27, 28 años me parece, ahora creo que 28 tiene, pero desde que tenía 11 años él lo mal diagnosticaron, tenía una colostomía, o tiene todavía, y tiene Crohn's disease, que es una condición. Crohn's es el médico que la nombró primero, es una enfermedad inflamatoria de los intestinos, y las personas típicamente están bastante enfermas, pero estamos en Estados Unidos, tenemos toda la medicina en el mundo que vivimos. Ahora, en un país de tercer mundo como la República Dominicana, entre la política tratando de conseguir los medicamentos es muy difícil. Sergio o Alex, le decimos más, ¿verdad? Este último año él perdió más de 100 libras. Tenía unos dolores inmensos, no estaba comiendo bien. Anteriormente yo hice un GoFund porque estaba en preparación había una manera reconstructiva de los intestinos. La colostomía, el plan era cerrársela, ¿verdad? Pero él tuvo esto que perdió, los dolores eran intensos todo el tiempo, no estaba comiendo. Y te digo que se puso bien, bastante mal. Entonces nosotros hicimos, no sé si hace 1 año o 2 años atrás, hicimos un GoFund y pude colectar como $4,500 que sirvió más para los preparatorios, para muchas CAT scan y algunos exámenes que necesitaba para poder llegar al punto donde lo operaron a él. Se vio bien malito, no tuvo complicaciones, gracias a Dios, en la cirugía, todo fue un éxito, pero él llegó a pesar 98 libras y está súper contento porque ahora ha aumentado 11 libras y está comiendo bien ahora. Yo hice un GoFund, porque en Santo Domingo, República Dominicana, tú estás en un hospital, allá le dicen clínica a los hospitales más privados, los hospitales públicos son del gobierno y no es lo mejor lugar para eso cuando tú estás enfermo, pero el sistema de medicina allí hay muchos buenos médicos, pero no es Estados Unidos, ¿entiendes? Y él en la clínica, el seguro que él tiene, él hace graphic arts, hace letreros y promociones, eso es su trabajo.
Hence the name of the channel.
Sí, ¿cuál es el número del canal de él? Sí, el otro día fue que vi el canal, sí.
Marpre Workshop Print and Design.
Sí, él hace esos tipos de trabajo así, y últimamente ha estado trabajando en la casa, como la mayoría del trabajo es en computadora o va a un shop donde él trabajaba antes. El punto es que cuando tú estás en República Dominicana, en las clínicas, si tú no pagas, ellos no te dejan salir, te aguantan. Hay personas que se han enfermado allá y le aguantan los pasaportes hasta que paguen la cuenta, ¿verdad? Pero el médico wasn't happy. I'm sorry, guys. We went to Spanish.
Basically, just to for those that don't speak Spanish, he was telling us about a nephew that he has who's been suffering from Crohn's disease, and because he's in the DR, medical access is a little bit different. Even though he has insurance, there's some out-of-pocket expenses that take place that the patients have to be able to, pay. So.
Right. So anyway, the bottom line was that I was able to send him I got a nice income tax return this year. I guess I was able to send him a nice chunk of money. Family here, we all have supporting him. We will support him throughout. So I did another GoFundMe for him. We just started it today because he still has uh, somewhere around a $10,000 debt, but he still has an upcoming surgery in about 6 months to a year to close the asthma because they repositioned everything and took a good part of his intestine. I didn't want to put that picture up because it's kind of, for some people, maybe kind of gross or, if you're not
Well,
used to
anyways,
it.
I did put the link to that video that you put out. I put the one in English. There's also a one in
Spanish
Spanish
one,
for the
right.
same thing. So you guys can go check it out. I don't know, or do you want? No, they
It's
can go check it out.
It's a 1.5 minute video, so it's short, but it's basically, I don't want to use this platform for this, but I think during when I met George the first time, I responded to a video where, he said, I normally don't do this. There's, I forgot the name of his channel, but he's a
Fishy
teacher in
Biz.
Chicago. Huh?
Yeah,
Fishy
Fishy
Biz,
Biz.
right. So I subscribed to him and I made a small donation, but what he does is he, during Thanksgiving, he provides meals for his kids who may not have access to a good Thanksgiving meal. So he was able to reach his goal to get everything done. And it's always good to go do things for a cause. I've seen GoFund where people just want to throw a party for themselves. And I mean, for what I would call nonsense, and they get the money.
Yeah.
But then, you see people who are real needy. I did a GoFund for a friend who lost a house in a fire, a coworker. So we were able to get her about $10,000 to replace her and live on a place until they fix her apartment. But I mean, somebody that I know just said, "Listen, I had to lend some of the money to my son," and I said, "Listen, $1 buys a few aspirins or some Tylenol for pain. It doesn't have to be much because $5 from this person." One of my cousins says, "Listen, all I have is $15." I say, "Listen, that's plenty. In Dominican dollars, that buys a few things, and the cost of medicines, So it's that's again, I to everybody who's watching, you can go to my YouTube channel. Is Joy of Fish Keeping, as you probably already know.
Yeah, and I
And
think Alex Fathom Aquatics just dropped the GoFundMe link. If you
yeah,
guys want to go check that out.
thank you so much. Yeah, check it out, and because certainly this is a young man who has been through hell. I posted a few pictures of him, and you can see the tremendous change. He has 2 young kids, and certainly his wife, and he's somebody who has, I said, medical insurance. He works hard. He's a very productive person, but there's one thing: when you want to be productive and illness, holds you back. And his mother was a primary support for him. I mean, any time he got sick, she did whatever she needed to do, and friends or whatever, and she was always there for him. But my wife is basically his other mother, So I've kind of, he's my adopted son now, my adopted nephew, But it's always good to help other people, and I think that's my profession and doing stuff like that. It's personal for me because he's family. But I don't want to take more time away from the
No, that's
subject at
fine.
hand.
I know you had asked, and I said, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Anything. It's just so many things that are out there that we can do to help people. Why not? I mean, it's a little of being able to give back for all the blessings that we've received. So that's the way I look at it.
Absolutely, and I can tell you that it's hard coming from from other countries and not take advantage of the opportunity that the United States has to offer for us. Like in my case, as I said, I came in '74. I was 12. My mother, for economic reasons, like a lot of us flee our countries, left me with my aunt and my grandparents, and they raised me until I was 12. She was able to, after years, to bring me over when she was stable here. So, being raised by a single mother here, either behaved and did what you were supposed to do, or it was your ass, So,
Yeah.
With that in mind, I said, well, when I went to a high school, did not speak a word of English when I came in. So I came in into 6th grade, 8th grade, 2 years in elementary school. Then went to a high school. It was a vocational high school, and I had to test in English to get in. I took an exam 3 times and I passed it. But what I did was I like science fiction, so I read a lot of science fiction. So by the time I graduated high school, my reading level was at a point that was, I think, was 12.7, the maximum that they would grade you at. That's where my reading level was at the time. So, you work hard. And I went to a vocational school and I did auto mechanics because I'm thinking, you don't know what opportunities or which way your life is going to go. So it was always like a plan B. So I worked through nursing school as an auto mechanic, right? And I was in a vocational school. Then I went to nursing school because I really wanted to go to medical school. I like surgery, general surgery, like belly type stuff, right? And so after nursing, I continued going to school and I did a biochem major, a pre-medicine. But then when I thought I was working about 60 hours a week, had a little side hustle as a contractor. Also, I did that. Always looking for a better way of, doing what you have to do, to make a living. And then I said, if I'm going to have to bust my ass this way to go to medical school and support a house and a family, I said, I love what I do as a nurse. So I stayed there. I stayed, but again, it was a plan B if medical school didn't work out because financially it was not going to be possible, and so I still had to work and support a family. So, but again, it comes to the point of I kind of lost track where we're heading, but you have to do what you have to do. When you have the opportunity, you have to take advantage of it. I mean, a lot of us don't,
Yeah. No, and it's just it's fine. I mean, we try to help where we can. That's
Yeah,
all there's to it.
that's all you can do. It it doesn't take much. It's like sometimes whether it's in a work situation where you say, listen, every little helps. If somebody just takes, in my case, takes somebody to the bathroom for you while you're doing something else, that takes a load off. And Alex, for example, when they told him, gave him the bill, it was like, where's he going to get the money from? They kept him an extra day because he got sick. Heart rate went out of control. And I said, I was
Yeah.
probably had a panic attack or anxiety. It's like, oh my God, I'm doing better, from a medical point, but now I have this other issue to deal with. And so we all think, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? And we've collected some money here, but then I said, let's try the GoFund. Maybe it helped us before. So hopefully he'll do fine and he's doing good.
Well, hopefully we can help a little bit, and
Of course, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, I think just even $1, like you said, you add those up, you multiply that by the number of people, and before you know it, you're where you need to
Yeah,
be
sure.
at, and
Yeah.
you're helping somebody.
And
Um,
it's the fund went up. Maybe it was earlier today. It was actually 2:30 in the morning. I was writing it. And my wife said, "Why didn't you go to sleep? Or why were you up so early?" I said, "I actually was doing the GoFund, and then I recorded those 2 short videos at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I stayed up and I said, let me do what I'll show you in a little bit when I show you the tanks what I have been working on. So I've been doing some changes. How do I go back to the phone if I can show you these things here? Because it's funny, you're chatting, and it's like an hour, almost an hour and a half is going by.
So let's get back on the fish stuff.
Yeah.
By asking you this,
Uh-huh.
if you had to describe your fish room, how would you describe it? What kind of fish are you keeping? That kind of stuff.
I put up a few videos where I said changes in my fish room, but I put it in quotes because I hate to call it a fish room. It's essentially my living room, and some people may call it a gallery because they all display tanks. But I have a few where I'm quarantining because of a bad experience. I quarantined for about 6 weeks, and I treat for 6 weeks. I have a routine of what I like to do, and so I have a few things. I had 2 tanks before, like I mentioned before. I had the 120 got 220s. One was a quarantine, and then I had this pair of discus that I decided to put out. Like my wife said, "Why don't you try? Let's see. Maybe they have babies." So she's the one who's pushing me. Now she's planning the next pair. even the 2 that we have that my give. She said, "Put a breeding cone in there because there was a male and a female, and they've been instead of fighting for space. One is much bigger, but it's a male. It's a clear male and a female. They always together. So that's how that other pair started. The one that I have the fries from." So I have I built a rack, which I did one of those videos. So I have 3 10s at the top, 2 20s, and a 5-gallon, on top and bottom. And when I was going to do that, I wanted a cabinet where I can have tanks on the top and the bottom. So I found this metal frame that it was supposed to be for 40 breeder. And my wife said, why don't you just build a cabinet for it so that you sit it up high and it's at eye level, and then you can have the cabinet at the bottom. So I did that. And also for now, I just also did another cabinet, which I just put in place there. So, well, what I was saying also before, like I said, about almost 35 years back, I built a cabinet and I took some recent pictures, and the cabinet is still very nice and very, after all the years, it still looks very pretty. And I say, man, but I was supposed to be for a reef tank, eventually. So I probably won't say, like you said the other day, you wouldn't typically call it. It's not a true fish room. It's my living room, and I want to keep them. So people say, why don't you have them in your, you can have a tank in your bedroom. I said, I don't want the bubbly noise at nighttime. My wife is, I go out and I'm out, but I want to have them at a place where I can enjoy them. If I move into a house already, whatever house I'll move into again, it's gonna be. I'm looking for a house based on my fish first. Concrete floor on some place, at least one of the rooms. And that's primarily when I was looking for my first house, 2-car garage was the basic. So that I have a little woodworking shop that I expanded the garage. So I had a woodworking shop, which is probably one of the things I miss the most, tinkering around with wood in the shop. But so whenever I did any kind of work, I would wait for the summer so I can do it. I still go back to the house, and I still go in the house with my ex-wife. So I'll go to the garage and I can spray and I can do everything in the open. But here in the house, there are a lot of water-based stains and finishes that are not smelly. And sanded with a vacuum in an apartment, it's like I've been able to do some cabinets here in the apartment, and still made it work any time of the year. So, I had to, make do. So it's, but again, my wife has been very tolerant. Some wives are fussy, this mess. She doesn't bother me, which is great. I'm telling you, it's amazing. But I think she's gonna be happy now that everything is finished. So that's what I would say about my fish room.
So the predominantly, what kind of fish do you like to keep? Right?
Oh,
Community fish, aggressive fish.
No, I don't like aggressive fish. I think the most aggressive fish that I have is discus, and they just bicker with each other.
Yeah, they're
I
cichlids.
have the cichlids, right? I love rams. I have a bunch of them, but I had some trouble keeping rams. They seem to die on me after a bunch of months. I don't know. It's just that by the time they get to be that size, their life expectancy is probably not that. And you lose them periodically, but I just buy more. I replace them. Have a very mixed, and I think one of the things with me is you go to the store, it's like, oh, I got to have that fish. Of course, within a community, right? I found that with angels, especially around breeding time, they get very aggressive, and
Yes.
I'm keeping to one per tank because I got a little one with a very long fins, and once he grew up to the size of the older one that he chased him around. I had to separate them out, so I planned just for one. But I love barbs, tiger barbs. Again, they're aggressive, but the fin nippers, as everybody knows. But I have long fins, glow tetras in there. They don't bother them. Now,
Okay.
but do they notice that one fish is weak? I have for example, I have a red tail, not red tail, but a shark. Not the rainbow, but not the big red tail shark, but oh no, that's a red tail catfish. The red tail
Yeah.
shark.
Yeah, red tail
And
shark.
yeah, I had two of them together. One harassed the other one, so I separated them out and put one in the tiger barb tank. And he's been fine because he's the biggest fish there. But it looks like he was not feeling well, and he has all these little peck marks all over it. And I said that's had to be the tiger barbs. So I took him out and I put him in a quarantine tank. He's fine. But I think they notice when a fish is not feeling well because they hone in on that one. But again, they're aggressive. But I don't think I'll ever be without a tiger barb if I have. So tiger barbs, I have a variety of barbs. Of course, the standard cardinal. I like the cardinal tetras. I don't usually get. I like the full color, the full band. Cardinal tetras, the Rominos tetras. I love plecos. I have a few in each tank. And of course, I have a good variety of rainbows. I didn't like them initially because some of them have the pointy snout. I thought they were ugly, but the colors are amazing on some of them.
Yeah,
And,
I think rainbow fish are either you love them or you hate them. Kind of.
yeah.
For me, I love rainbows when they're small, like
Mhm.
juvenile size. But when
Yeah.
they get to full adult, they get that weird body shape.
Yeah, that's I
That
still
it's it's like pinched in the front, pinched in the back, fat in
it's
the middle.
it's weird. They have a weird shape, but you know what? It's like some people would think that the plecos are ugly, but some of
Yeah.
them are, like the golden nugget placket. I mean, that's such a bright yellow color. It's beautiful. I like
Yeah.
it, but it's one of those things that you have to kind of do a balance. I said, all right, I'll take the pinch nose and tail, but I love the color on some of them. They're
Oh, yeah.
amazing colors. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when they're flashing and they're
Oh,
really
yeah.
excited. Oh my
Mhm.
God, just
Yeah.
some of those colors that you get from them.
So when
So, do you want to do a little walk around and show us
yeah,
what you got?
yeah, sure. Let's get the phone going here, and you can help me out like when we did a dry run before. So
Here, let me. I think the phone
my
is
phone
still
is
connected, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. Let me see. Do I go to the YouTube? Yeah.
Uh, no, I think on that one it's already here on Streamyard. Go to the Streamyard on your phone. You should be there because it's up here. It's connected.
Give me a second. I have to go to your channel, right?
No, just go
Oh, I
straight.
see.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. I'm connected. Yeah. Give me a
Okay.
second.
So
Now,
what you want to do is go ahead and mute. Here, we'll mute this one and we'll activate the phone.
Give me a second. I'm
There
going
you
to
are.
conseguir mi batería porque la batería porque se está descargando. I'm at 9%. I'm hearing both. Which
Okay.
let me lower.
Because you're listening to the StreamYard and you're listening to on the phone. So
Okay.
you can mute either one of them, whichever one you're not going to use right now. So
Okay, so let me mute the computer, right?
okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, one second. Let me switch over because I have to put a portable battery here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Now remember to
in
turn the
your pod.
camera.
Give me a second, George. Hold on. Let me put an ear pod on.
No,
So
you don't need it because I can
how do
hear
I
you
flip the
through.
camera around now? Because all right. Can you hear me, George? Jorge.
Yes.
I
See.
keep saying George. Jorge. Eh, okay, so I'm looking at myself on the camera here. How do I flip the
Yeah.
camera here on the? How do I flip to the front camera?
Go to settings
Settings, more.
and then
Okay, more settings. Okay, and then camera.
camera, and then you're gonna
Okay,
select the
front
back.
camera, back camera.
But you're on the front camera. You want to select the
Right.
back camera.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so if I walk into my apartment, this is basically what you see, right? Now this is a 60-gallon. It's a 60-gallon cube.
Hold on.
That
Let me get rid of us.
okay.
Okay, which one? This is the one that I want to remove.
Yeah, I see there. I see on the screen the tank.
Nope. Why am I having a hard time with this?
I know. I see you in the tank that is on my phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. There we go. There
Good?
you are.
Oh, there we go. All right. So this is a 60-gallon tank. This is a community of mostly small fish. I have some Odessa barbs here, which I'll show you the fish that I was keeping on this one. Now the problem, this one is right into the kitchen entrance, which is here. And the cabinet that was with this one, I did a video on my updates to the fish room where I show the process and I show this particular cabinet. So this one, I did birch, solid wood, and I did it big enough so that I can fit it. This is an FX6 here. So I just moved the cabinet to the spot here. So what I was able to do was the floor I had done, all the floors here I had done literally by hands. I did one section at a time, move furniture on and did the other part. So they were like really in bad condition before. So since the tank was there before, I was able to remove it and do that small section there and then put the tank in place. So I have, then when you look at the other, this is a 65 gallon. This is my Target bar tank. And this is, and I have one blue Acara in here. I said, let me try these guys. They seem to be not too aggressive. So that's why I love the color. I love blues and reds and fish. But most people, they think they're gonna get fed, so they all came to the front. So this is the tank that most people make most comments about because of the flashy colors. But I have a lot of long, you can see the long fin tetras. They don't bother them. I wouldn't keep a betta in here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, we're still on, okay. And I have a couple of plecos here. Here's my Goldie, my favorite Goldie, and a few others. So there's a bunch of plecos here, and this piece of wood here has a nice hole underneath. So the bunch of this zebra botilla loaches, they're all kind of hiding there in between. Now you don't see them too well, but there's a big hole in the middle, so you don't see them that often. But this tank is probably one of my favorite ones because of the activity. And some people commented, "You have a lot of fish in there." I said, "Hey, I know." So this cabinet, I also did this one, but I did it on one of the summers. Most of my towels are here anyway. So I keep FX6 on the large tanks. So this particular cabinet is supposed to be like a dining room server, but I added a piece of wood, a plywood, 3/4 plywood, and then I just did molding work here because it's in the living room and I wanted just to look nice. This is a 90 gallon that I just put up temporarily, meaning the fishes in there are temporarily. This piece of wood is gonna stay. I have a good school of Buenos Aires tetras that love to eat my plants, right?
Yeah,
So,
I was gonna say, how are you doing with your plants in the Buenos Aires?
oh man, I'm telling you, when I first had the 120 here, right? This is where I keep most of the discus, right? And now the 120, when I first set it up, it was very full. I mean, it was full of plants, and even one of my sons said, "Listen, it would be nice to see the fish and not plants only." But I love the way the tank looked at the time. So I had a school of about 15 Buenos Aires there. They decimated some of the plants, so I took them back to Petco. I bought them at Petco, right? and and then I got another bunch here. I gotta have, I think, at least 10 to 15. I can't count them. They're too fast. And I'm gonna keep them here in this 90 gallon because of the space. They're good schoolers. And the Odessa barbs, I love the Odessa barbs. They school together often. And I may put the Odessa barbs back there. I will see. So I have two smaller electric blue Acaras here. I wanted to put the other one here, but he's much bigger. He's almost twice as big. So I think, they may have an issue. So I may put him on the 60 gallon again. And this is the big discus here that he came in very tiny. But this one harassed the heck out of the older that I have in the 120 here. And I have a good school here of cardinal tetras.
Yes, I can see
here
that.
in the 120. Now this one here, it was the one who would bully everybody. But the one that was in the tiger bark tank, I have him in a quarantine tank over there because until he got a little better. This one here has this piece of wood, this Mopani wood, has a bunch of holes at the bottom and openings. So some of the plecos you don't see that often, but this one I'm going to, once I remove the fish, which will be soon, except this piece of wood, everything else was part of the 60 gallons. So I just have it in there temporarily until I can reset it up again. So I just ordered today a leveling mat for that tank because the wood itself looks like it's a little bit off. So I'm just going to use the leveling tank. So this, let me step back a little bit.
Well, before you leave on that one of the things that I really like about that aquarium is a good example that you can still have a bare bottom aquarium with plants in it. So just because you would like bare bottom aquariums doesn't mean you can't have plants in that aquarium.
Yeah. And This one here, the crib, they don't touch. Some of the anubias, they will finish them pretty quickly. So all these anubias were in the 60-gallon tank, and they're going to go back there again. But the Buenos Aires don't bother it too much. There's always been a trial and error. Okay, I'll try that plant. No, it's not going to work. They're going to eat it. So, but I'm going to leave them in this tank. And this tank is going to have probably some anubias around this tree and some stones. But my idea originally was to go bare bottom tank. But I got some geophagus, and they're going to go in here with white sand.
Oh, okay.
So this is what this is going to be. And also what I'm planning to do is, this is my 120 tank. This is a primarily discus tank, but look at some of these, where we're talking about the shape, but these guys have some amazing colors, the rainbows.
Yes.
And every time look at this one, the turquoise. I love the colors. Every time I go into one of my favorite stores and I say, oh, I want that. And I only buy the males. I buy them for the colors.
Okay.
This tank, all the fast swimmers, I'm going to move them into the 90. And then I'm going to leave primarily smaller, some dillerfish. There's a big group of cardinal tetras here also. And I have here yo-yo loaches, and I have two large, not large, but they're probably about 3 inches, clown loaches. They seem to come out mostly when they're eating. The
Wow.
yo-yo loaches are always out. See one of them here. And these guys here, the roseline sharks, they're beautiful. I like them. I have a school of 6. And the Colombian, this is a Colombian tetra.
Those are really colored up. You hardly ever see them colored up like that.
Yeah, it's what's his name? He said recently he ordered some online, and I said I wish they're going to color up nicely for you, hopefully, because they are beautiful once they do color up. I think I got these. I think I got them online actually. Yeah.
Have you
And
found that they're not as voracious with plants as the Buenos Aires?
No, they don't seem to touch the plants, because I have different kind of plants here, and they don't seem to bother. Now, one of the things that I've noticed on this particular tank is that I'm adding a lot more fertilizers now, because most of the anubias, which are always very lush green, to take Stefan's title here, but I'm getting some yellowing on the leaves, and I'm adding more nitrogen because there's a lot more plants than before, or maybe the just requirement is much bigger. But some of the newer plants that I put in, they have yellow, and some are dying off. This one is doing pretty nicely, and they actually flower very. Most of these anubias flower for me. And one of the things that I also did, more for laziness, no, actually not laziness, but when I was redoing the floor, again, I did have to do a little bit at a time, the whole floor, and also out there. The CO2, I wasn't running CO2. I always did for these 3 tanks out of one cylinder here. But I did find one thing is that supposedly some of these plants are not a low requirement for CO2. But what I have found is that they actually did much better than without it. And this one here, I bought several of them. This red tiger lotus just has a very bright red color. And so far it's doing really nicely. I have this one here. I'm going to take a chance and take one of the other ones and put it with the Buenos Aires and see what happens. I don't know if they have a taste for that kind of lettuce, But this will be, another thing, that the reason why I want to move some of the faster feeders and put them in the 90. I wanted the 90 for the discus originally, but then I said, wait a minute, the 120 is bigger. Let me leave them there and move the others, because some of the discus, some of them, although they eat well, some of them are getting a little skinny. And it's not because they are sick, because I treat them. It's not because of, see this couple right here, there's 2 red ones. Female is the one at the back with the dark one. That's the one that I was using as the icon for my channel. And father and mother back there. Those were the one who had the big all the fries. This particular one is called a smoky white dragon. This one paired off with that very red one back there. And we had them, on a separate tank, and this turquoise here, not this, I'm sorry, this cobalt, pair up with another cobalt also. So it was like these three fish, these three pairs at the same time. And my wife said, just put one of them aside and see what happens. So that's basically what I have. So these are the three big tanks. Well, not the fourth one, the 90, but the 90, once I complete it, then I'll show them completely. And just to go back a little bit, my wife saw this on Amazon, and I said, "Oh, I'm getting that." So we decided to go to decorate this wall with these fish up there. They're metal, but they have stained glass in the middle, so they're really, really nice looking. Yeah, so they metal, but then the center that is very shiny is actually like a stained glass. So that's kind of a neat decoration and theme for that wall. Alex, that is, I said he's a graphic artist. So the other day he said, "Is that the picture that we're going to use for his?" He wants to give me a gift, a picture. There's one that I have as a background on my computer, on my laptop. It's of the 120 tank, and the disc is like, it just looks amazing. And we're trying to use that as the background on the YouTube, banner, but we don't know how to do it. But he says he's going to use that one and give me a picture. I may replace it with the bridge here that looks like the George Washington Bridge. So he may go there, but if he wants to do like a big poster, actual picture. So then the other thing that I did here, okay, so I showed you the three main tanks, the 60, we're gonna have to just do a lot of swapping around and moving of fish. Now this little cabinet here, so again, when you look at my living room, this is basically what you see. So this is my fish room, maybe gallery, I don't know what we should call it. So this cabinet here, I started out with this metal frame, right? It should hold a 40 breeder, and at the bottom, but then my wife said, well, let's just do why don't you do the cabinet, which I did. So I did a video on that one. So this way I keep my buckets and everything else. And then I have, these are due for water change, and I have to do something here. So these baby discus here. They're probably about 5 months, and they're a little bit over a quarter size. That one approaching here is probably one of the larger ones. It's a little cloudy, not cloudy, just a lot of food particles floating around. I have beta here. They don't bother anybody here, so they're fine together. And I keep 2 cories. Some were born here. I like the stir-bys.
Okay.
So I keep them because they keep the bottom pretty clean. I have some geophagus here. Again, I found this rainbow. Look at his color. So I saw the color, so I'll take that one. So I have a Sveni, the geophagus Sveni, the Weimilleri, and the redhead Tapajos. These guys have been in this 20 gallon at least 6 months, because this was meant to be for the tank with the white-sanded tank, but I've left them there. And I also have a couple, these are the quarantine tank mostly.
Okay.
This is a 5 gallon here. I just kept it on blue light lower. That discus back there, that yellow one, he's very skinny. I just put him over with the red one that has recovered. Most people say that the discus, once they get that skinny, they don't come back. And it is not parasites. It's just that this is the less dominant fish, the smaller one. This one is at least 4 inches or 5, maybe, close to 5 inches. And the yellow one that's back there, it's bigger. But he's just very sluggish and he eats, but just very skinny. So I said, let me put him out, and so he doesn't compete with anybody.
How's he doing? Do you notice a difference?
On the red one back there, yes, he has a normal forehead, but the other one is just skinny. When they get the pinch forehead look, but he's just sluggish. But he's still eating, so we'll give him some time and see if he recovers. These 2 guys here, this is quarantining, so I got these discus on 3-2. This yellow one is sunshine, what I call it, sunshine gold, I think forgot the name. And this cobalt, I went to see, and I said, oh, I want that blue one. so these 2 on quarantine, and this is the red-tailed shark that was
being bullied by the tiger barb. So he's fine, but I have them there since they're getting treated. So this whole quarantine, and I have a bunch of um, I have a few more Odessa barbs. I like them, and I got I think three sets of threes, two males and one female. So I'm going to just add them to the other school, and I have some Harlequin rasboras here, which are meant to go with the discus.
Okay.
And I see all these are the baby discus again here. And I started out with I said at least my closest count somewhere near 200, but I'm probably down to about maybe 30, 35 now, or between 25 and 30, somewhere around that range. So these are kind of my tanks. I will always keep these guys running, even when I move everything around, because if I have to do anything, I have one more, I forgot. So this, one of my coworkers that keeps on fishing asked me a lot of questions. She said, Jose, I have a 20-gallon. Do you want it? And I said, sure. Who couldn't use an extra 20-gallon? Like you always say, even if I give it to somebody else. And she gave me like 2 5-gallon buckets of different stuff, pebbles. So I have them in my car until I put them in a storage place. So this is it's a white platinum, or where I bought it, they like to call it mother of pearl. And this other one, this is kind of a jumbo size one. So this was my, I'm sorry, the lights are on. Here we go. This was my birthday gift.
Oh, okay.
That I paid for. No, yeah. So this was what my daughter wanted to give me a discus. So since I kind of know what I wanted, I just told my wife, I need this one and that. Not that I need. I want that one and that one. And I put 2 Corys in there again just to keep the whatever
clean.
drops clean. Yeah. So I used it was a stick-on bottom and back for this. It's supposed to be totally plain bottom, so it just looks a little nicer. So this is a kind of what my fish room is. So it's on the living room. It really doesn't take much from the living room, because most of the space for the living room is here. So just have a lot of stuff there that I'm still just kind of have on the edge, that I have to pick up some woodworking equipment and the mess. But she's kind of has her living room back, because the center area there was just full of stuff, and got to fix the 60-gallon and just set it up. Okay, so that's that's in a nutshell. That's what it is. Now let's get me back to your computer. How do I go back to the? Here we go.
There we are.
So that I can get close out the phone, right?
Yes.
And so how hold on. How do you know when people that are still on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I muted it. Hold on a second. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I muted the sound before I forgot. How do you know who's still on the chat? Who has left? How do you generally know?
Oh, everybody's still here. I mean, I
see.
can see we still have 24 people watching it, 25 now.
Okay.
And everybody was just kind of admiring your aquariums.
Okay, good. That's good.
So do you have any plans for all the discus, the fry that you're growing out?
When I first posted the wigglers and they were first being born, I had 2 people reach out to me. One of them is actually a friend of one of my nephews that lives in New York, and he says, "Do I sell fish?" I said, "Well, talk to me in a few months, because when these guys are ready to see, we'll see if any survive. I may want to sell some of them, but I don't know how many I'm going to have at the end. But I'm just almost feel like I would probably keep most of them, but I have to wait until the colors come in, because we had I guess a little bit of a project. I took all the corridoras that I had in the 60, and we got a bunch of babies. We got a bunch of babies, and some are here. Some, it was a trial and error. Some of the eggs will fungus, but then at some point I kind of gave up, because they stopped laying eggs after a little while. So I put them back in the 60-gallon tank. and I think, like you said also before, was if you go to breed fish, then what do you do with all the fries? Trying to sell them, trying to get rid of them. You need a lot of extra space, and then you have the time. Since my wife is home most of the time, the baby discus, we feed them between 3 to 5 times a day. And most of the time I try to use brine shrimps and more proteins to make them grow, right? But I use flakes to make sure that they get accustomed, so they eat anything.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of have to wait and see. Where I buy most of my discus in New Jersey, Discus Madness. I've done a few videos on them. Probably people think that they sponsor me. Nobody does. Yeah. But I always say, if I can help somebody, I can help a small business by mentioning the products that I use. I use them because they work for me. Somebody gotten maybe 2 people with some comments, a little bit negative, the trolls or the where somebody said when I was talking about my quarantine process and what I use, I spoke about this company called Everything Aquatic. They're based in Oregon, and I said, this is what I use. I said you could get the same stuff by other company, but I just happen to use her products. But I had to look up what the word meant, but I think it was RM or something. But I looked it up, and it said it's kind of a negative thing on YouTube where you're pushing a product or you're endorsing a product. And then I said, tell them, listen, I apologize if that's how I came off, but that's not the idea. Is that
But
I
but
like
you know
a
what, Jose?
product. Mhm.
Here's the thing with that. It's your channel. Do what you
Yeah.
want.
True.
That's at the end of the day, that's really what it boils down to. They have a choice. It's real easy. They can watch or they don't watch.
Yeah.
So don't
Yeah.
ever let stuff like that play a factor into what you're doing with your
Yeah.
stuff, because
Mhm.
it's your content. And don't I I like I've said, I've been very fortunate, and I'm not trying to say that I want that kind of response from people, but I've been very
Mhm.
fortunate that I don't get a lot of that. I've gotten
Yeah.
a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's been like real innocent stuff, like, oh, that aquarium is overstocked because I have
Yeah.
my platies. I said,
Yeah.
well, you're absolutely right, and that's all I tell them, and that's it.
Yeah.
It ends right there. I guess
Yeah.
what they're trying to elicit is a defensive response for you, because they're trying to poke you,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I think
yeah.
the
Yeah.
more that you respond, the
Yeah.
more that they get a kick out of it. But half
Yeah.
the time I just tell them, yeah, you're absolutely,
No.
thank you for pointing it out, you're absolutely right. And
Yeah. One other.
it.
Go ahead. Yeah, one other person, as I mentioned earlier on in the conversation, she says, "Oh, you're getting more fish. Don't you have enough already?" I said, "Actually, I like the overstock tank on purpose, But then she understood, and she watches regularly and comments regularly, which is good. But it was not in a malicious way, but it was more like, "Don't you think you have enough already?" And then the other one, there was one other back. That one was the first one that really kind of annoyed me because I was talking about phosphates. I have a strong science background and I was a biochem major. So I mentioned about phosphorus and phosphate, and the fact that phosphorus is an element, phosphate is a compound. And I actually showed the periodic table as a quick thing. And, and just kind of leaning into the conversation. If you don't have a science background, that may be a little bit much or confusing. But again, it was just, look, phosphorus is an element. It's not phosphates.
Yeah.
And then I said, and then he said, "Oh, you went too far with sharing the periodic table." There's somebody from back home, from my country. "Oh, you went too far now talking about the periodic table. Why don't you talk about what phosphate stinks the water or does this and that? Talk about what phosphate does." But he just showed me that the dude didn't see the rest of the video, where I actually wanted to do a little video just responding to him. And then I said, you know what? He's probably one of those people who's going to throw a stone and run away.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they're
but then
just trying to entice. They're trying to entice
Yeah.
that, so.
And I told him respectfully, I respect your comment, but if you watch the rest of the video, you see that I do discuss that. And I feel that it was a good base to, to understand the difference, because sometimes some people use the word interchangeably, like Dominican Republic. And some people say, I'm going to Santo Domingo, interchangeably with Dominican Republic. Santo Domingo is the capital, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not the same, but
Yeah.
it's I think that one, but sometimes people will make, and you have to. And one of the first thing my older son, my 3-year-old, told me, I said, "Dad, you're gonna have trolls."
Yeah. That's a good thing, though.
Just
See, that's the thing, though.
ignore
When
it.
you start getting trolls, that's a good thing because that means people
Yeah,
are watching what you're doing.
that's what my wife says. I said that'll bring you more attention to you, which is what you want.
Which now that I think about it, that's kind of sad. That means nobody's watching my stuff. That's why I don't have any trolls.
No, I think I've done pretty good because, as I said, watching again, because one of the people that I started watching first, like you bump into somebody, then you continue watching them, and they have good content. Like Corey, for example,
Yeah.
I mean, he's been doing this shit forever, and he has a store, so he have a lot of knowledge. And you and I have knowledge because we've been doing this for a long time, but it's our experiences. They talk about their experiences, so you feel that you're competing against, heavy hitters. And who am I, with now think, about, I think for the last time I looked, it was 425 subscriber in, maybe in about 5 months. I do tell friends, listen, you like fishing? And I invite people in, and, I get, of course, one of the YouTubers that tells you how to do YouTube. He says, one of the way to get subscribers, just simply ask, right? At least at the beginning.
Yeah.
But most of the people, since you don't really see who's subscribing to you, or their names are not their names, there's something else. You really don't know who it is. But I think out of the 430 people, only about 17 I actually know who they are. That it tells you, because somehow it's just private. Somebody you say Garcia Aquatics. Hey, I just saw you. Thank you, Garcia. Thank you so much.
He's another Dominicano.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Bienvenido, gracias. And Daniel Velez, Didi Svensden. Hola.
Oh, that's Didi. Yeah,
Didi.
she's a big part of the community too. Everybody that's here, that's the one thing that's really nice is that I find that everybody's so supportive of each other, and that's why I like bringing like smaller channels into doing these interviews, because it allows you to expand the audience that you have, and you get to know more awesome people that you can interact with, you can learn from. I am so serious. I mean, I've been so fortunate to meet, well, not personally meet, but to establish a friendship with a lot of the people that are here in the group, that are watching the live stream, just over the course of years of interacting with them in the chat room. Like I said, there's nobody in my family that I can share this hobby with like there is here. And half of these people I've never even personally met, but yet they're so supportive and they're always encouraging you. And I mean, it's a great community.
Yeah, it really is. And again, going back to Stefan, because this is the one that I watched 2 or 3 times and was the most recent one that you did, I think, before me. Okay. I'm just looking at Daniel Velez. Daniel Velez, you're in New Jersey. I'm in New York. Where am I from? I'm currently living in the Bronx, but I am originally from the Dominican Republic. I was 12 when I came in 1974. And Daniel Velez just subbed. Thank you so much. What were you just talking about? I just
No. That I was just telling you that.
The friends, how you meet people. Yeah. So one of the things that you said the other day was that other than this medium in YouTube being a relatively new thing, I mean, there's no way that since the further west I've been is the west coast of Florida, that I would not go far enough west to meet you. So, but and my wife said I don't have I'm a very sociable person, and at work, again, as I said, I in part I talk for a living, with people and patients and stuff. But it's I don't have like people that I said I have friends that I hang out with, because that was never my thing. I went to school as a kid. I came home. I helped mom when I could, or whatever needed to be done. And I've been always either school, work, and back home. And now it's I spend more time of my free time at home. I don't have a lot of days off, but I spend more time with fish. I think my daughter sometimes said, "Dad, you spend so much time with the fish." So I think there's a little bit of jealousy there too. But it's that's cool. Somebody, let's see, Joy Fish Keeping Channel, the Zen Ginger.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mandy.
I think there's something there that she posted. I think I maybe a link for my channel. I'm not sure.
I think she was mentioning. I guess your sub count has gone up. You know what? Let me take a quick break because like you earlier,
Like you gotta listen. Our bladders are not the same, so I'll wait here. Amor, hace rato que tocamos esto extensivamente al principio. Él tuvo que ir al baño, como hice yo. Sí, hablamos de eso y ya los contenidos están ahí. Duramos un rato hablando de eso. Ya expliqué toda la situación. Él tiene los links de los YouTube y ya 2 o 3 gente se han metido ahí.
Okay.
Entonces, all your people were there. Huh? Did you hear back from them?
Wow.
No sé, espérate. Yo no sé si él lo puso en pausa. Estamos apagados ahora. Pero déjame ver, aquí vieron mucha gente están saludando aquí.
O si hay un muchacho ahí que de Baltimore, que va manejando para Baltimore. Se llama Rose Baltimore. Driving to Baltimore, dice.
El nombre
del...
del...
Cuando son gente que te escriben así, que no vienen de...
Ya que vienen.
Okay.
Subió a 4.49. ¿Y cuánto era que yo estaba ahorita?
Okay.
En 2.30. En 4.30, subió a 4.49.
I'm back. You okay? Did I lose you? Can you hear me, Jose?
Now I could. I had muted it for a second because we're having background conversations here. So you said hello to somebody. Didn't get a hello from you, but I just read somebody.
Oh yeah. That was Daniel was kidding me because I had said somebody. So he was giving me a hard time. That's one thing you're gonna notice is that we all kind of joke with each other, and we all. It gets to the point where even though you haven't met these people in person, you do establish a relationship with them, and if I personally spend a lot of time watching other people's live streams, and whether it's interacting in the chat room, or whether it's just kind of listening, but you do start becoming familiar with a lot of the members of the. Thank you, Berto. With a lot of the members of the community, where you start kind of exchanging comments back and forth. You started getting a feel for their sense of humor, so you start kind of joking with them a little bit more, and it's so crazy because it's a different way to make new friends.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Let me respond. Garcia says que viva la República Dominicana, and he said he's going to be in New York in August.
I think in August.
In August, yeah. So if we can maybe have some coffee together, we can get to meet in person, that's always a great thing,
Yeah.
Let me know, Garcia, when you're around,
Yeah, he's also me and him have a very unique bond because him and I started together, relatively together. We started doing videos. We've kind of gone back and forth and supported each other. Again, this is one of these things where I've been very fortunate to establish some of these friendships, especially with people that likelihood of ever crossing paths is slim to none. Because we live in such different areas of the country.
Yeah, I have to go back. Some of the names here on the chat are new to me, but usually when I see a name, I usually go look at the channel, and one of the things that I like to do is like there's some people that I've been watching for, and I say, listen, I apologize. I've been watching your videos for such a long time, and I never subbed, but sometimes if I have if somebody subs me, I usually look at their even if it's not my interest, I'm not a gamer, certainly not at the age I could be, but somebody subs, I look at their content or at their, and if they have subscribed, some people have no subscribers, so obviously I won't subscribe to them. They just have a YouTube account, but I usually, return the favor. I like to sub back, and I watch some of the content. Sometimes you gotta have a different point of view. I'm not a gamer, so I won't be watching that. But sometimes you don't know. You learn something new. Learn something new every day.
One of the things that I've learned over time, especially with people that I see regularly in the chats, a lot of times they start off. It's like I remember when I started off doing this was never part of the plan. When I started watching YouTube, it wasn't with the intention of some days going, oh yeah, I'm going to do videos. That was never the case. So people that subscribe to me that I see regularly on the chats, I've figured out now that I'll subscribe to them because they're probably in that stage where they're trying to build up the courage to eventually start a channel. And it's so cool because I've seen a couple of these people where they start off just being a participant in the chat room, and then little by little they'll do a pop-up here where they'll have an open panel. That's one of the great things about Berto is that he does these open panels. So if you're thinking about maybe doing something or getting a little bit more involved, that's an easy way to get into it. Because a lot of people that do live streams don't have open panels, even though you want to try it out and see what it's like, or you're trying to make a comment, not having access to that and some of the other channels. Well, with Berto, you get that opportunity. And I've seen so many new people that are been in the groups but haven't really done anything as far as videos. They'll start off there. They'll jump on with Berto. They'll show off a little bit kind of what they do, and then before you know it, they're posting videos and their channel starts growing and they become a more active member of the community. So that's why, again, what I was saying earlier, there's so many options out there, which I think is great. Even though we're all doing the same hobby, we all do things a little bit different. We have different takes.
Very different, of course. Yeah. Somebody here says, nice, Renee, the queer.
Okay.
The queer. Nice fish room. Thank you so much. And Sweet Access Koi Farm. I think I'm subscribed to you because there's a few there's a few koi channels that I'm subscribed to. She says his tanks are amazing.
She's going to be my next guest, I think.
Okay.
Is it tomorrow that we're going? I think it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. What time?
I gotta make sure. I think tomorrow we're going on.
Yeah, tomorrow's my emergency room day, so I'll probably watch the replay. And who knows? Sometimes it was one of those Sundays that is not too bad, because where I work, it happens to be South Bronx, New York, the emergency room. It happens to be one of the top 3 busiest in the country, off the number 1. So it's a busy place, especially for trauma and stuff. So you could be very busy, or you can have one of those days where we hate to use the quiet word. Oh, it's quiet today, because then all hell breaks loose.
Yep. Well, that's the same superstition we have at the control room. It's like, how was your day? We won't say. We don't want to say that is. We don't invoke the juju and say that everything's going good. We just kind of go, kind of like
we made it through.
So we know what that means when I didn't go today. Okay. Or it'll be, we had changes, or we had this and that, but we'll never say, it went smooth or it went great, because that's like invoking the gods of mayhem to come in and say,
exactly. Or some other nurses will say, it's like, I don't like to work with him or her because he carries a black cloud. When everything's here, it's like we have one trauma after the other, and it depends. There were like 2 funny, so like some people say, as an emergency room, you must have seen a lot of interesting stuff. I say interesting is not the word, but there's always 2 stories that sometimes I like, when people ask me, that I like to share. Just because of my years and training, I often get to do a lot of teaching, this is one of the things I like YouTube channels, that you share stuff, and sometimes you want to present stuff in a lively way, but it may be a dry subject, like phosphate, for example, and it's kind of still weird talking into a camera and talking to nobody, but you at the same time a lot of people.
Yeah, so, I have the deepest admiration for people that can do a live stream by themselves. I feel weird because as much as I like to talk, I like having conversations. So I usually like to say something and somebody responds something back to me.
It's like what we were saying before. You're trained to interview people, and sometimes in our case, sometimes the story doesn't match the injury. We may say in an emergency setting, right? For example, I can tell you, like years back, maybe 1985-ish or so, I'm in a pediatric emergency room, and this kid comes in with a dislocated shoulder, right? Typical for little kids. How does it happen? Parents yanks their arm. It's typical, right? And not in a malicious way.
Yeah.
So I asked the mother, what happened? Oh, he fell or whatever. I know what the injury was. So then I'm talking to her. So then I asked the kid, so what happened to you? Oh, my mother pulled my arm. And this lady didn't know where to hide her face. And I said, listen, it's okay. I said, it's okay. It happens. And I personally had I like road trips, right? And we went, what the heck were we? We went down the Jersey Shore across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge I think it was into Virginia Beach area. So on the way back, we were somewhere coming local, and we stopped at a Walmart to buy something. And my daughter was maybe 3 or something. So I'm firm with my kids. I've never really had any of them do anything. And 5. I've never had them do any temper tantrum because it's in our culture, it's like sometimes you don't have to talk too much. You just one look, and you know what they mean. They mean business, and you don't have to touch your kids. You don't have to touch your kids, So we're going in that direction. She wants to run in the other direction. And you're not going away from me. So I held her by the wrist, and she drops herself on the floor. But it was just like to try to do a temper tantrum, and no, I want to go that way. So I dislocated her elbow because she was having some pain. And then when you see a dislocated shoulder, it's like somebody see coming in, you already diagnose them before you talk to them because the walk, the pose. And I said I dislocated the elbow again, just because she threw herself down, and it's easy to dislocate a kid, right? So
Yeah.
we kind of rushed back, and I went to my own emergency room and to the pediatric side. So we had maybe a couple of hour drive of her not being comfortable and not being able to move. It's painful. So I just kind of kept it still. And so when we got to the emergency room, I was trying to reposition, and wasn't comfortable. But I guess it just turning to the X-ray, it must have popped it into place. And then later on, she has like a little blanket. She's going like this, and I said, "Oh, she's good." I said, "She's fixed," So we're okay. So then after that, I said, "Listen," and it was one of those things. It's just a certain positioning, but it's sometimes you tell a story and you get kind of off the tangent. So it's hard sometimes telling the story to people. Or like my wife says, "Why didn't you do it live?" I said, "What am I gonna say?"
Yeah.
And it's one of the same things, the intimidation of talking to the world, but nobody's there, And I think another story that I think they're kind of funny, interesting story. I mean, you see emergency room nurses, you got stories,
I was going to say you have to have a plethora of stories because you see, especially when you're working the late night shifts on the weekend.
I tell you that this particular emergency room, you work a Saturday night. When you came in Sunday morning, it was literally, I said, "What happened here?" It was like a bloodbath. There's blood. I didn't get a chance to clean it, but it's like blood all over the place, gunshot wounds and stab wounds. And you got some of those nights, where it happens. And it's like, holy crap, what happened here? So, one of the emergency room stories that we got, I'm in the trauma room, and she's one of the head nurses now, but I've done a lot of the training for some of the staff there, again, because of my years, even though, I'm not a permanent staff there, but they have certain respect for you, and they know your experience. And so I was one of the head nurses. She was very new out at that point. It was somewhere around maybe 09, 10. And we get a call. I was in the trauma room, and we get a call that this 32-year-old woman had trauma. Oh, I lost you.
No, I'm here.
Okay, all right. 32-year-old female had trauma, 32 weeks pregnant, and actively having a seizure. And they said they had already intubated her, put a breathing tube. They were breathing for her just to protect her airway. And of course, so we planned for her. I'm at the head of the bed. So, in trauma, everybody has their role. You just like you do this, you do that. So I was at the head of the bed, and I'm connecting. It was It was a young blonde woman with a ponytail, bright blue eyes. I remember her face like now. And they said she was 32 weeks pregnant. So that's a few months, not far from delivery. And also she had her lip was split, from the whatever trauma happened, and she was actually having a seizure. So when I'm at the head of the bed, I'm connecting her, and her pad. When I look under the breast to connect it, she had like silicone pads to augment it, make herself lip bigger. And I tell the nurse that's working with me, listen, something doesn't feel right here, right? So I unzip the tight jeans that she had on, and I just kind of take a quick peek, and I see a split, where they could be a BJ, And then I said, I'm not convinced. So I took my trauma shear and I just went down and ripped the pants down, and I kind of reach underneath, and here comes the package, And we have this old trauma surgeon there, as who's one of our attendings. And I say, hey, Dr. K, I don't think she's pregnant. Hey, Polanco, why don't you say that? And I said, can I say the word D? I said, I'm sorry, I think I could say, can you say it in YouTube? D-I-C-K?
Yeah.
And I said, why don't you say that, Polanco? I said, she has a dick. If I'm offending anybody there, I'm not homophobic in any way. I have several in my family, but I said, she's not pregnant. She has a dick, and here comes UIN. They come in because we're taking care of the head, the body, and everything else. They come in to take care of the baby. So here they come straight into the trauma room. They go in for the crutch. And he said, no. We won't need your services, he says. And they said, why not? And then he's tells them what the deal is. And they go like this and throw their arm up in the air and just turn right around. It's like, it was not a pregnant woman, obviously, is what I'm trying to say. So I reminded him of that story. He said, do you remember that? He said, no, he doesn't remember, but I thought it was very funny. So, that's, again, that was nothing major, but it was the stuff you come across, and, you get multiple things,
You get all people from all walks of life, and things, people do some of the craziest things. I imagine like injuries from,
finding stuff that should be there.
Yeah. But just in general, people are doing crazy stunts all the time. You get job related injuries. It's just, I can only imagine what an emergency room. To be honest, I don't think there's an emergency employee, whether it's medical staff or just the maintenance staff, anybody working in the emergency room is gotta have one bazonker story.
I want to say Phantom Aquatics. He posted the GoFundMe page. Thank you very much, Alex. Will appreciate it. And again, he's not my wife's nephew, but since I met this kid, about 15 years back, he's just an amazing. These two brothers, they're just amazing. I mean, they call me uncle. I've taken them as as my own kids, and again, I've always been there, and we've been there for them. So it's really, I really appreciate it. Another, I don't know when you need to leave, but I tell you another story that almost on a daily basis I use. My primary job, not the emergency room job. I work in a recovery room, but we do both pre-op and post-op. And we average at this hospital between 100 to 125 surgeries a day, just these 2 floors. They have other buildings for children, but we generally, it's a busy place. So of course you see all kind of people anxiety and so on. So, and I always use the same line, it's like, it's a joke and it works all the time. It works everywhere, and sometimes, people are anxious, and I said, usually I usually bring this up when people comment about my personality, that it make them comfortable and they feel relaxed. And I said, the worst thing you need is to come in and meet staff with a sour face, because it makes you uncomfortable. You're already coming in uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. So pre-COVID, when nobody was wearing a mask, there was this, I had, let's say, the cubicles 2 and 3. Number 1 was not mine. And I don't know what was going on with that gentleman. It was older gentleman, son and wife were there, right? And they were just seemed to have been on their own world, Mm-hmm. And so the transporter for my guy that was having a bladder procedure. So from that operating room, another guy. So he's coming, but he's going into the wrong patient, let's say. But they come in with the chart 280. What's your name? What's your birthday? Something that we generally do. What side are they operating? It's routine stuff that we do. But when he's heading to that patient, I said, no, that's not your patient. It's this person in bed 2. I said, oh, the secretary told me it was spot 1. I said, no. It's the guy in bed 2 you want. So this is happening in front of the wrong guy, right? So he IDs of the proper patient. He takes them away. And when they take them away, the body language on the 3 of them, on the patient, the gentleman, the wife, and the son, it was like, oh shit, they were going to take the wrong person away. That's the body language that I read. So I go and I tap the guy on the foot. I said, listen, you're lucky they didn't take you by mistake, because that guy is having a sex change operation. I told him. Okay. That was wrong, of course. It was just, but the thing is that stupid humor, as I like to call it, broke the ice. And after that, they seemed a lot more relaxed. They were chatting with each other now, but whatever was on their mind, sometimes you just need a little something to change the course of a person, and you don't know what impact you have on people. So I think that's one of the things that I love the most about my job. So it's I have no complaints about it. It's some rough days, but you really need to be like my older son. After trying something else and it didn't work out, COVID came, so he wants to go back into nursing. My ex-wife she retired. She's a nurse too, but we didn't meet in nursing school. We met that when I was 15, 16. So, but it's a great profession, and it's always nice to be able to help people in some other ways, And you have the hobby of YouTube as another part of the hobby is just I'm liking it. It's fun.
Well, I just want to say that I've really enjoyed what you've been doing. Like I said right off the bat, as soon as I was super excited when I saw that you were doing the stuff in English and Spanish, because that's something that I was trying to do. So I said, now somebody else that I can relate to on a different level. So,
Of course, yeah.
so that was one of the reasons why I really started following your content, and then I started seeing what you were doing. So it's kind of like, okay, I definitely want to get to know Jose a little bit better.
Yeah.
And with that being said, do you have any idea how long we've been on?
I think other than trying out with the technical issue, I think we started at 5 and it's 7:30 now, New York time. So
Okay.
2 hours and a half, minus a couple of minutes for, let's see, this is Kalish.
Yeah, Amisa, yeah.
She said, please tell Jose that he is exactly the type of medical profession that we need more. And thank you for sharing yourself. Well, thank you. It was really fun. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to say thank you, Jose. I was super excited when you accepted the invitation to come on. I really look forward to be able to do more stuff. Maybe, I want to do the one in Spanish.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see that one too. And, it's just, thank you. I've everybody that I've had on here, it's been a great pleasure and honor for me because it allows me to get to know them a little bit more. The Evolving Tank, Austin, that was his very first time ever being on a live stream.
Yeah,
and, and it can be pretty intimidating, but people accepting it, it's been awesome.
Yeah,
Fathom Aquatics.
like
He's
you also
become a very good friend just from having him on as a guest.
And as you said also with the Evolving Tank, like you said, you pointed out to him that this is the first time that he has shown his face and that his voice didn't match. That you thought he was a lot younger. It was 32, I think he said, or something like that.
Well, he's still, compared to us, he's still relatively young. He's a young guy.
He's a young guy. He's still a kid. I remember first growing up, it's like when some people started calling you sir, I said, oh, you were getting older, when you're in your 30s and a kid at 15 calls you sir. And, I said, oh, it's funny. But, he has not, it's intimidating, it's being in front of, I'll tell you a quick story. We'll part with that one then. During the Ebola scare a few years ago, right? Ebola came from Africa. It's an infection. It was like one of those things that will kill you in seconds, So my hospital built a very super expensive isolation unit, and I volunteered, to be one of the nurses. my ex-wife wasn't happy. I said, listen, this is what I signed up for. If I
Yeah.
go in, during COVID, people were running the other way. We're running into the fire, like firemen. And so I volunteered for that. And the first, there was a lot of mental talk and training in an auditorium. And I'm sitting next to one of the doctors that was part of this thing here. And my ID, I wear a dog tag. I'm not military. I wanted to go into the Navy for the medical school program. But I met my first wife at the time, and I don't know if she was going to hang around 6 years that I needed to give them after. So I said, I'll do it later, which, then I already told you that story. So they wanted to play this game as part of the whole introduction. You're going to say two things about yourself, and one is going to be a lie, right?
Mhm.
So I said, I've been a nurse at that time. I said I was a nurse for 30 years. I was a F-14 pilot, and that's a dog tag, right?
Yeah.
And then I was also a licensed contractor, which I was, two of them, not the pilot, right? So, but when I said those three things, you can hear I'm standing now in the audience here. You're talking in front of a group again about the anxiety part, and you could hear the people. He hasn't been a nurse for that long. Oh, he cannot be a contractor. He's a nurse, and you hear all the things. So, of course, they all went for the F-14 pilot. Right, I had the age at that time to would have been an pilot. And when I said I was an F-14 pilot, one of the big administrator that was there, she saluted, and I kind of did a slight bow, So at the end, the truth comes out, and she says, I know you were not military because you would have saluted back.
Yeah.
But everybody else thought that the other two were wrong. They believe the F-14 pilot thing, but it's fun because when they see that, oh, Jose, you in the military, I say, yeah, but what the dog test says is my 36-year-old gave me a Jose Polanco, the best father. So I said, that means more to me than anything else, so that's why I always have it with me. And so that was, and one of the other nurses one time, but I said, Jose, I didn't even the military. I said, I was an F-14 pilot. And a gay male, and the other, younger nurse, she said, wow, Jose, your sex appeal just went up. And I said, well, I'm sorry to disappoint them, but, I'm just a good dad to my son, anyway. So that's, we'll close on that one. It was a pleasure, really. So,
Gracias, Jose. We got to schedule the one in Spanish.
Yeah, so send me your schedule, and we'll try to do it again around a Saturday, which is the day when I'm here doing most of the time fish keeping chores if we don't have anything planned. But we can work, plan it like we did this one.
Yeah, and I got to schedule you and JR actually.
Yeah,
JR.
JR. So I think he left. He went to sleep. So
Yeah,
I'll message him on one of his channels so we can do it whenever. So it's fun to meet other
and
people.
with that being said, I just want to say thank you to everybody that hang out with us for 2.5 hours.
if you hang around that long, huh?
Yeah, and just enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys soon. You guys take care.
Thank you, Jorge. You have a good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
How do I get out here now?